Chapter 2541. Young Master Qing Yan. Duan Lingtian's eyes widened when he heard the skinny middle-aged man's words. In the depths of his eyes, boundless flames of fury were burning fiercely. Yun Qing Yan. Upon hearing the skinny middle-aged man's words, Duan Lingtian knew Yun Qing Yan had sent the skinny middle-aged man to kill him. He knew Yun Qing Yan would not let him go so easily. But he didn't expect that. He did not expect Yun Qing Yan would be so heartless as to send someone to kill him. Since he dares to send someone to kill me, it means he's not afraid of Kerr finding out I'm dead. After all, Kerr has my soul pearl. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. It was not difficult for Duan Lingtian to figure out why Yun Qing Yan was not afraid. Yun Qing Yan must have used his family and friends to threaten Kerr again. Yun Qing Yan, when Duan Lingtian thought to himself, his gaze turned even colder as he looked at the skinny middle-aged man. If looks could kill, Duan Lingtian would have killed the skinny middle-aged man many times over. So, you're one of Yun Qing Yan's men. Duan Lingtian sneered as he looked at the skinny middle-aged man. As soon as he sneered, he cast the assist-type divine ability, the elementary devouring tactic, to raise his strength. Then he took out his celestial sword and cast the fifth stage of the sovereign heart sword. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Tens of thousands of sword rays formed a sword formation that hovered above Duan Lingtian's head. The offensive divine ability, the 13 green lotus swords, was ready to be unleashed. Currently, Duan Lingtian had completely comprehended the divine ability, the 13 green lotus swords. His strength was much stronger than before. He was confident he could kill a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial with just one strike. After all, the divine ability, the 13 green lotus swords, was different from ordinary offensive divine abilities in the Devata realms. Once one comprehended it to its peak, its power would far surpass ordinary offensive divine abilities in the Devata realms. However, his strength was nothing compared to the expert Yun Qing Yan had sent to kill him. Xiao, quickly leave this place. This person's strength is not inferior to the great overarching golden celestials who left behind all kinds of treasures in the Beyond Heaven secret zone. Duan Lingtian asked Tang Xiao to leave through telepathy. He was ready to fight to the death. Even though he knew he was no match for the expert sent by Yun Qing Yan, he did not intend to resign himself to his fate, because that was not his style. However, he did not want to implicate Tang Xiao. Tang Xiao was innocent. Shua. Tang Xiao's expression changed drastically when she heard Duan Lingtian's voice transmission. When the thin middle-aged man in front of her walked out of the spatial rift in space, she had already realized that the other party was not simple. She had extended her divine consciousness and discovered that there were no pseudo-realms in the surroundings. If the thin middle-aged man came from a pseudo-realm, he might not be as strong as her and Duan Lingtian. However, since there were no pseudo-realms in the surroundings, it meant the thin middle-aged man did not come from a pseudo-realm. He must have come from somewhere else. According to the ancient records in the Tang sect, only great overarching golden celestials or stronger in the Devata realms were capable of such a feat. Ordinary golden celestials were not capable of such a feat. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Tang Xiao's expression changed drastically when she confirmed this. Duan Lingtian, how did you offend such a powerful person? Tang Xiao's voice trembled slightly when she sent the voice transmission to Duan Lingtian. Fear could be heard in her voice. She could not help but feel apprehensive. After all, the thin middle-aged man was a great overarching golden celestial or stronger in the Devata realms. Why were there so many people after the treasure vaults in the Beyond Heaven secret zone? It was because the treasure vaults were left behind by great overarching golden celestials. And now, an expert of that level had appeared before her. How could she not be shocked? How could she not be fearful? Don't worry about that. You should leave now. Duan Lingtian did not expect Tang Xiao would still be in the mood to talk to him through voice transmission at this moment. He hastily sent another voice transmission to her. It's too late. Extend your divine consciousness and have a look. The surrounding space has been shrouded by his energy. It's impossible for me to leave now. Tang Xiao smiled bitterly. Swoosh. Upon hearing Tang Xiao's words, Duan Lingtian's expression changed drastically. He glared at the thin middle-aged man who was looking at him disdainfully and said in a deep voice, Yun Qing Yan only sent you to kill me? This has nothing to do with my friend. Let her go. You can't even save yourself and yet you want your friend to leave? You're really protective of the fairer sex. The thin middle-aged man said with a sinister smile. However, if you want her to leave, I won't let her leave. Now that I won't let her leave, what can you do to me? The disdain in the thin middle-aged man's eyes deepened as soon as he finished speaking. Duanling Tian was so enraged that his eyes turned red. The sword formation above his head began to stir restlessly as though it would fly out and attack the skinny middle-aged man at any time. Your technique is similar to Feng Qingyang, the heavenly emperor of the solitary destructive heaven. At this moment, the skinny middle-aged man glanced at Duanling Tian indifferently and said, I was wondering why young Master Qin Yen asked me to attack a heavenly emperor from a Devata realm. It seems like it's because of you. However, compared to Feng Qingyang, the heavenly emperor of the solitary destructive heaven, you're still far from being a match for him. Even Feng Qingyang couldn't last more than 100 moves against me. In the end, he had no choice but to escape to the Azura Hell, one of the 7 deadliest places in the Devata realms. However, those who enter the Azura Hell, even heavenly emperors, have no chance of surviving. The thin middle-aged man said. Swoosh. Upon hearing the thin middle-aged man's words, Duanling Tian's expression changed again. He did not expect the thin middle-aged man would be so powerful. He did not expect the thin middle-aged man to be the person Yun Qingyan had sent to kill Feng Qingyang. The reason Yun Qingyan wanted to get rid of Feng Qingyang was because he had obtained Feng Qingyang's legacy. He could be considered Feng Qingyang's successor. Yun Qingyan had sent someone to kill Feng Qingyang because of his relationship with Feng Qingyang. No chance of surviving. The skinny middle-aged man's words continued to reverberate in Duanling Tian's ears. He had indirectly caused Senior Feng Qingyang's death. A heavenly emperor? Tang Xiaozhao's expression changed drastically when she heard the thin middle-aged man's words. She was shocked. She looked at the thin middle-aged man in disbelief. You're saying a heavenly emperor from a Devata realm can't last more than 100 moves against you? Moreover, you forced him to enter a deadliest place in the Azura Hell where even a heavenly emperor can't survive? Tang Xiaozhao's voice trembled as she spoke. Naturally, she knew what a heavenly emperor meant. According to the ancient records in the Tang sect, heavenly emperors were the strongest powerhouses in the Devata realms. They were the strongest powerhouses in the Devata realms. There were only 81 heavenly emperors in the 81 Devata realms. However, based on the thin middle-aged man's words, he was even stronger than a heavenly emperor. How could she not be shocked? How could she not be shocked? The thin middle-aged man scoffed. Among the 81 heavenly emperors in the Devata realms, there are only a handful who can last more than 100 moves against me. However, Feng Qingyang managed to last more than 100 moves against me. In terms of strength, he's at least in the top 20 among the 81 heavenly emperors in the Devata realms. Tang Xiaozhao's body trembled when she heard the thin middle-aged man's words. She was stunned as though she had been petrified. Boy, I really don't see anything special about you. I didn't expect you to win the heart of the most beautiful woman in the divine offering land. The skinny middle-aged man shifted his gaze from Tang Xiaozhao to Duanling Tian. His eyes flashed with a hint of killing intent. It seems like you're going to attack me. How about this? I'll stand here. If your attack can reach within 10 meters of me, I'll leave your corpse intact. The thin middle-aged man's voice was filled with disdain and contempt when he spoke. His eyes were filled with mockery as he looked at Duanling Tian. Duanling Tian, who had been waiting for this moment, could no longer hold back when he heard the thin middle-aged man's provocation. A sword formation appeared above his head. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. When the mighty sword formation whizzed out, it was followed by a string of densely packed sword formations. There were a total of 12 sword formations. Including the sword formation that appeared first, there were a total of 13 sword formations. It was obvious Duanling Tian had cast the assist-type divine ability, the elementary devouring tactic, to raise his strength and cast the most powerful technique from the Sovereign Heart Sword. He had also cast the offensive divine ability, the 13 green lotus swords, that he had comprehended to the highest level. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. After the first sword formation merged with the 12 sword formations behind it, the sword light also grew more and more intense. It was so powerful that it seemed like it could destroy heaven and earth. At this moment, wherever the sword formation passed, terrifying cracks in the void tore open in space as if they were free, cutting across the vast sky. From afar, it looked like gigantic pythons swaying their huge bodies. It seems like I've underestimated you. It's surprising that an eminent celestial from the mundane realm can wield strength comparable to a golden celestial from a Devata realm. But, with this little bit of power, it's impossible for him to get within 10 meters of my body. The thin middle-aged man merely smiled disdainfully when faced with Duanling Tian's powerful attack. Chapter 2542. Swoosh, 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 Swoosh. Duan Ling Tian unleashed all his strength and techniques. The sword formation whistled out, leaving a terrifying crack in the void as it charged toward the skinny middle-aged man. It seemed as though he was going to kill the skinny middle-aged man. However, when the sword formation was about 10 meters away from the skinny middle-aged man, it strangely came to a halt. In the void 10 meters away from the thin middle-aged man, there seemed to be a force guarding there, like a quagmire. As soon as Duan Lingtian's sword formation came close, it sank into the force and could not move at all. Time seemed to have stopped at this moment. At this moment, Duan Lingtian's sword formation seemed to have lost its momentum. When it was about 10 meters away from the skinny middle-aged man, it was still moving at an extremely fast speed. However, when it was about 10 meters away from the skinny middle-aged man, it suddenly came to a halt. In just a blink of an eye, the sword formation disappeared like a firework. Only the celestial sword was left hovering in the air 10 meters away from the skinny middle-aged man. At this moment, the light on the sword had disappeared. From the beginning until the end, the skinny middle-aged man stood motionless in his spot. His expression did not change at all. Even his robe did not flutter in the slightest. This? Tang Xiaoxiao withdrew her shocked gaze from Duan Lingtian. A bitter smile appeared on her face. Earlier, when Duan Lingtian had unleashed his full strength, the commotion was so great that even she could not help but look at it. At the same time, she could tell that Duan Lingtian's attack had far surpassed the strength of a 9 bodiless celestial. It was just as the skinny middle-aged man had said. Duan Lingtian's attack was comparable to a golden celestial in a Devata realm. However, even if Duan Lingtian's attack was comparable to a golden celestial, he could not hurt the skinny middle-aged man at all. After all, based on the skinny middle-aged man's words, Duan Lingtian was not weak at all. He was stronger than most heavenly emperors in the Devata realms. Like an ant. The thin middle-aged man looked at Duan Lingtian and spoke indifferently. The contempt and disdain in his eyes deepened. In the next moment, with just a thought from the thin middle-aged man, Duan Lingtian's immortal sword that was suspended 10 meters away from him was strangely broken in two again. What a pity! At the same time, the thin middle-aged man glanced at Duan Lingtian indifferently. According to what I said earlier, if your attack can reach within 10 meters of me, I'll leave you with an intact corpse. Now I can only turn you into ashes. When the thin middle-aged man finished speaking, he took a step forward unhurriedly. It was this seemingly unhurried step that smashed into Duan Lingtian's chest like a giant hammer, causing Duan Lingtian to feel his chest tighten. Subsequently, a suffocating feeling spread throughout Duan Lingtian's body in just a blink of an eye. At this moment, Duan Lingtian could smell the scent of death. Little Fei. Duan Lingtian smiled bitterly as two beautiful figures appeared in his mind. Then, another beautiful figure appeared in his mind. Tianwu. A moment later, the figures of his parents, his children, and his group of friends and family flashed through his mind one after another. At the same time, his heart was filled with resentment. Although he had expected this outcome when he made his move, he was still unwilling to accept it. However, when he was faced with such an outcome, he was unwilling to die at the hands of Yun Qingyan's men. He was unwilling to die here. He was unwilling to die at the hands of Yun Qingyan's men. Duan Lingtian. Tang Xiaoxiao cried out when she saw the thin middle-aged man was about to attack Duan Lingtian. Although she wanted to help Duan Lingtian, she was powerless to do so. After all, she was not even as strong as Duan Lingtian. Even Duan Lingtian was powerless in front of the thin middle-aged man, let alone Tang Xiaoxiao. If there's an afterlife, remember that not every woman is someone you can touch. The thin middle-aged man looked at Duan Lingtian with disdain. His face was expressionless. In the next moment, the thin middle-aged man's aura changed abruptly. An invisible gust of wind swept out toward Duan Lingtian. The thin middle-aged man did not even need to lift a finger to kill someone as insignificant as Duan Lingtian. With just a thought, he could kill Duan Lingtian. With just a thought, the thin middle-aged man sent out an invisible energy that resembled the scythe of the Grim Reaper, aiming to kill Duan Lingtian. From the beginning until the end, not only did Duan Lingtian and Tang Xiaoxiao not notice the thin middle-aged man's energy, but they did not even have time to react. This was because it was too fast. A cruel smile appeared on the thin middle-aged man's face when he saw the invisible energy that extended from his body was about to engulf Duan Lingtian in just a blink of an eye. In his opinion, the thin middle-aged man was an ordinary person. If his energy enveloped a mere eminent celestial from the mundane realm, he would be annihilated in just a blink of an eye. However, At this critical moment when the thin middle-aged man's energy was about to land on Duan Lingtian, a sudden change occurred. At this moment, the thin middle-aged man's cruel smile froze. Rip. The sound of something tearing rang in the air. The space in front of Duan Lingtian suddenly cracked open. It was a spatial tear. The spatial tear appeared in a timely manner. As soon as it appeared, it swallowed the thin middle-aged man's energy that was about to attack Duan Lingtian. Who's there? The thin middle-aged man's expression changed as he stared coldly at the spatial tear that had suddenly appeared in front of him. It was as though someone was hiding behind the spatial tear. At this moment, Duan Lingtian and Tang Xiaoxiao's attention was caught by the spatial tear that had suddenly appeared in front of them. It's me. Suddenly, a lazy and indifferent voice came out from the space crack. As soon as the voice rang in the air, a figure limped out of the spatial tear. He was holding a wine gourd in his hand, and he would occasionally take a sip from it. Based on his figure, it was obvious he was an adult man. Due to his messy hair and the fact that he had his head lowered, one could not see his face clearly. It was impossible to tell if he was young, middle-aged, or old. However, based on his rough voice, one could tell he was a middle-aged man. He was clearly a middle-aged man. Duan Lingtian and Tang Xiaoxiao were stunned when they saw the man in tattered clothes who looked like a beggar walking out of the spatial tear. Since the man had appeared in such a manner, it meant he was at least a great overarching golden celestial in the Devata realm. When the thin middle-aged man saw the beggar-like man, his eyes were filled with bewilderment. Following which, his gaze landed on the other party's waist, where he saw a faintly discernible identity token. The word cruel was carved on the token. Swoosh. When the skinny middle-aged man saw the word Jie engraved on the identity token hanging on the young man's waist, his expression changed completely. In the next moment, he took a deep breath and bowed respectfully to the beggar-like man. Yun Yi from the Yun clan greets Lord Xia Jie. Currently, the thin middle-aged man no longer had the arrogance he had when he faced Duan Lingtian. Instead, he had an extremely humble appearance. He was like a completely different person compared to before. Yun Yi. The man called Xia Jie raised his head slightly and looked at the skinny middle-aged man indifferently. The spatial tear between the divine offering land and the Devata realm is about to close. Why are you, a member of the Yun clan, here instead of returning to the divine offering land? Lord Xia Jie. Yun Yi did not dare to be negligent when faced with Xia Jie's question. He immediately looked at Duan Lingtian and said, I'm here on young Master Qing Yan's orders to kill this man. I'm sure Lord Yun Yi has heard that a mortal from the mundane world has defiled Miss Ning Shui's reincarnation, Yun Yi said. Slap. However, at practically the instant Yun Ye's words left his mouth, a clear and crisp sound of a slap was heard. Duan Lingtian and Tang Xiaoxiao saw a slap on Yun Ye's face. Shockingly, a clear palm print had appeared on Yun Ye's face. Lord Xia Jie, Yun Ye's expression changed drastically. Yun Ye's expression changed. When he looked at Xia Jie again, besides rage, there was also heartfelt fear in his eyes. How dare a servant of the Yun clan like you speak about the matters of the eldest miss of the Xia clan? Xia Jie, who didn't care about his appearance and looked very sloppy, seemed to have completely changed at this moment. This aura gave people a feeling of awe-inspiring without being angry. Believe it or not, the Yun clan won't pursue this matter even if I kill you right now. Yun Ye's expression changed again when he heard Xia Jie's words. The anger on his face disappeared and was replaced by fear and dread. Scram. Yun Yi seemed to have grasped at a life-saving straw when he heard Xia Jie's words. With a wave of his hand, he tore a spatial tear in space. Then he flew into the spatial tear and disappeared. The spatial tear quickly closed after Yun Yi entered the spatial tear. At this moment, he seemed to have forgotten that he had not obeyed young Master Qing Yan's order to kill Duan Lingtian. In his opinion, this was not the case. Compared to his young Master Qing Yan's order, his own life was more important. As they watched the insufferably arrogant Yun Yi flee like a stray dog in the blink of an eye. Whether it was Duan Lingtian or Tang Xiaoxiao, they felt like they were dreaming. If Yun Yi was not exaggerating, he was even stronger than heavenly emperors in the Devata realms. You're Duan Lingtian? Duan Lingtian was still in a daze when he saw Yun Yi leaving. At this moment, the sloppy Xia Jie turned to look at Duan Lingtian. His sharp gaze shot out from under his messy hair, as if he could see through everything. Chapter 2543. Yes. Duan Lingtian felt as though he had nowhere to hide under Xia Jie's gaze. However, he did not dare to ignore Xia Jie's question. Based on the conversation between Yun Qing Yan's subordinate and the middle-aged man in front of him, Duan Lingtian knew the middle-aged man was a middle-aged man. He was certain the middle-aged man was from the Xia clan, the clan of his wife, Ke, in her past life. Duan Lingtian did not think it was a coincidence that the middle-aged man was here. 99 heavenly veins? At this moment, Xia Jie, who was staring at Duan Lingtian, cried out in surprise as though he had discovered a new continent. Duan Lingtian and Tang Xiaoxiao were taken aback by Xia Jie's words. Tang Xiaoxiao looked at Xia Jie in confusion. Duan Lingtian, on the other hand, looked at Xia Jie in surprise. He did not expect Xia Jie to be able to tell that he had 99 heavenly veins. According to Hua Lao, the three-legged golden crow, the saint veins in the Saint Province realm were called heavenly veins in the Devata realms. Moreover, heavenly veins had a greater impact on celestials than those in the mundane realms. Naturally, Duan Lingtian was unaware of the impact of heavenly veins on celestials in the Devata realms. However, in the mundane realms, the benefits of having 99 heavenly veins were not as obvious as the benefits of having 99 heavenly veins. Perhaps, as Hua Lao had said, it was because the strength in the mundane realms was too weak. At the same time, Xia Jie seemed to realize he had lost his composure. He calmed himself down before he said, "You're a good-looking man, but you're too weak. It's a sin that you and Shui became Dao partners after she was reincarnated. You even had a daughter with her." Shui? Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up when he heard Xia Jie's words. He looked at Xia Jie with a burning gaze as he asked, "Senior, is Ke doing well?" Based on Xia Jie's words, it was clear Duan Lingtian was referring to his wife, Ke. Ke? Xia Jie was stunned when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. His niece had told him that her name in this life was Ke. Her cultivation partner in the mundane realm had also called her that. She's under house arrest now. Do you think she'll recover? Xia Jie snapped as he glanced at Duan Lingtian. House arrest? Duan Lingtian's expression changed. Yun Qingyan put Ke under house arrest? Yun Qingyan? Xia Jie snorted and said disdainfully, "That brat is from the Yun family. He doesn't have the guts to put the little princess of the Xia family under house arrest. The one who put Shui under house arrest is her father, your old-fashioned father-in-law." When he reached the end of his sentence, he looked at Duan Lingtian meaningfully. Upon hearing this, Duan Lingtian knew Ke's father was the father of Ke's previous life, Xianing Shui. However, now that Ke had regained her memories, it meant she was Xianing Shui and Xianing Shui was her. "Alright, I don't have much time, so I'll make it short." Xia Jie did not beat around the bush as he said, "I'm here because Shui asked me to. I didn't expect to run into Yun Qingyan, who sent his men to kill you. You're lucky. If I came any later, you'd be dead by now. Shui asked me to tell you that your family and friends are safe. They've escaped Yun Qingyan's control and have gone to the Xia family. However, although they've escaped Yun Qingyan's control and gone to the Xia family, my elder brother, Shui's father, has no intention of letting them go. He intends to use your family and friends to threaten Shui and force her to marry Yun Qingyan." Xia Jie said. "What?" Duan Lingtian's expression changed drastically when he heard Xia Jie's words. He said angrily, "How can there be such a bastard of a father? That's his biological daughter. Moreover, his daughter already has a husband and a daughter in this life. How can he force her to marry someone else? Damn it! Damn it!" Duan Lingtian became hysterical when he spoke. It was as though he had lost his mind. From the beginning until the end, Xia Jie watched silently as Duan Lingtian threw a tantrum. However, his gaze that was hidden under his messy hair was a little strange. Duan Lingtian. When Tang Xiaoxiao saw the peculiar expression on Xia Jie's face and recalled that Duan Lingtian seemed to have insulted Xia Jie's elder brother, she felt slightly anxious. She was afraid Xia Jie would vent his anger on Duan Lingtian. "Ah, well said. Well said." Tang Xiaoxiao was about to persuade Duan Lingtian when Xia Jie's hearty laughter interrupted her. "That fellow is a bastard. A damn bastard. I've been wanting to scold him for a long time. Bastard." At this moment, Xia Jie was venting the emotions that he had suppressed for many years. He had long held a grudge against his elder brother. However, it was his elder brother, the clan leader of the Xia family. Not only was Tang Xiaoxiao shocked by Xia Jie's sudden outburst, but even Duan Lingtian was shocked as well. Both of them stared at Xia Jie in a daze. After a while, Xia Jie seemed to realize he had lost his composure, so he calmed down. "Not bad, not bad. Boy, you're not bad at all." At the same time, Xia Jie looked at Duan Lingtian with a satisfied expression on his face. "Your father-in-law doesn't acknowledge you as his son-in-law, but your third uncle acknowledges you as his niece-in-law. compared to Yun Qingyan, I like you more. Third uncle? Duan Lingtian was taken aback. Look at me. I haven't introduced myself yet. I'm Shuer's third uncle, Xia Jie. I'm also the third master of the Xia family. Xia Jie introduced himself. You can just call me third uncle like Shui. Yes, third uncle. Duan Lingtian did not expect that his loss of composure earlier, where he scolded his father-in-law whom he had never met, would be acknowledged by his third uncle. This was a good start for him. At the very least, not everyone in Ker's family was against him. He had his own supporters as well. Although I like you more and hope you can be with Shui, to be honest, there's nothing I can do to help you. My eldest brother is used to having the final say. If you want to gain his approval, you'll have to rely on yourself. When Xia Jie saw the hint of joy in the depths of Duan Lingtian's eyes, he threw a bucket of cold water on him. The spatial tunnel between the Divine Offering Land and the Devata realms is about to close, so I'll have a long story to tell you. After calculating the time, Xia Jie looked at Duan Lingtian and said, Currently, Ker is under house arrest by her father. Her father has also taken her spatial ring. Perhaps that's why Yun Qingyan dares to send someone to kill you. After all, since the spatial ring has been taken away, it means she won't know if your soul pearl has shattered or not. Otherwise, Yun Qingyan wouldn't have dared to risk her life. After all, with Shuer's temper, if she finds out you're dead, she won't live alone. Upon hearing Xia Jie's words, realization dawned on Duan Lingtian. Previously he had wondered why Yun Qingyan dared to send someone to kill him. Was he not worried Ker would do something crazy if she found out he was dead? As it turned out, the spatial ring where his soul pearl was kept had been taken away by Ker's father. It was obvious that Yun Qingyan knew about this, which was why he had sent people to kill him. Although my bastard brother plans to use your family and friends to threaten Shui, into marrying Yun Qingyan, something big has happened in the Divine Offering Land recently, so he won't be able to deal with it for the time being. In 3 days, the spatial tunnel between the Divine Offering Land and the Devata realms will be closed. It'll be closed for about 1,000 years. During this time, there will be many things happening in the Divine Offering Land, so Shui, will be safe. However, after 1,000 years, when the matter in the Divine Offering Land is settled, I'm afraid my bastard brother will bring up the matter again. At that time, if you don't have the strength to win his approval, I'm afraid Shui, will have no choice but to marry Yun Qingyan if she can't withstand the pressure from him. Xia Jie paused for a moment and looked at Duan Lingtian meaningfully. Third uncle. You mean I only have 1,000 years? Duan Lingtian was not stupid. Naturally he knew what Xia Jie meant. That's right. You only have 1,000 years. Xia Jie nodded. If you still can't gain his approval after 1,000 years, I'm afraid Shui, won't be fated to be with you. 1,000 years. Although Duan Lingtian had only lived for a few decades in this life and had not even lived for 100 years, he still felt a great pressure. After all, he knew he might not be able to gain Ker's father's approval even if he was as strong as a heavenly emperor in a Devata realm. Third uncle, what's the Divine Offering Land? Duan Lingtian asked with a grim expression on his face. Yun Qingyan had casually sent a servant from the Yun clan to force Senior Feng Qingyang, the heavenly emperor of the solitary destructive heaven, to flee to the Azura Hell, one of the 7 deadliest places in the Devata realms. This meant the people in the Divine Offering Land were generally very powerful. The Divine Offering Land is separated from the mundane realms and Devata realms. It's a realm created by a supreme powerhouse. Xia Jie seemed to have expected Duan Lingtian to ask this question, so he was not surprised. He quickly explained, You'll learn about this when you reach a certain level in the Devata realm. As for other information about the Divine Offering Land, it'll only be a burden to you even if I tell you about it. Therefore, I won't say much about it. Xia Jie paused for a moment before explaining to Duan Lingtian. Naturally, you'll be able to learn about it when you reach a certain level in the Devata realm. Chapter 2544. Shui, has asked me to come and see you, and I've told you everything I need to tell you. The spatial tunnel between the Divine Offering Land and the Devata realms will close in 3 days, so I have to return as soon as possible. If it's too late, I'll have to wait for 1,000 years before I can return. Xia Jie said as he looked at Duan Lingtian. I hope to see you in the Divine Offering Land when the spatial tunnel between the Divine Offering Land and the Devata realms opens again after 1,000 years. At that time, I hope you'll be strong enough to gain Shuer's father's approval. After Xia Jie finished speaking, he casually raised his hand and tore a tear in space before he prepared to leave. Third uncle. Duan Lingtian suddenly remembered something important when he saw Xia Jie leaving in a hurry. Is it true that heavenly emperors will definitely die if they enter the Azura Hell, one of the 7 deadliest places in the Devata realms? Duan Lingtian did not forget what Yun Yi had told him. Senior Feng Qingyang, who had left behind the inheritance for him, was forced into the Azura Hell, one of the 7 deadliest places in the Devata realms. The Azura Hell? Xia Jie's expression turned slightly solemn when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. I've entered that place once, but I only dared to move around the periphery. I didn't dare to go too deep. Based on how dangerous the Azura Hell is, I'm afraid there are only 2 or 3 heavenly emperors among the 81 heavenly emperors in the Devata realms who managed to come out alive. Xia Jie said. Swoosh. Duan Lingtian's expression changed immediately when he heard Xia Jie's words. At the same time, he realized Yun Yi was not exaggerating. There were 81 Devata realms in total. Similarly, there were 81 heavenly emperors. Based on Xia Jie's words, only 2 or 3 heavenly emperors in the Devata realms managed to come out alive after entering the Azura Hell. Based on Yun Ye's words, Feng Qingyang was only ranked in the top 20 among the 81 heavenly emperors in the Devata realms. He was far from the top 3 heavenly emperors in the Devata realms. Senior Feng Qingyang, Duan Lingtian's heart trembled. At this moment, the last trace of hope in the depths of his heart was shattered. After his hopes were dashed, a strong sense of self-blame rose from the depths of his heart, unable to calm down for a long time. I'm in a hurry to return to the world of divine remains. I don't have much time left, so I can't help you much. At this moment, Xia Jie's voice rang in Duan Lingtian's ears again, causing Duan Lingtian to regain his senses. Initially, bringing you back to the divine offering land would be more beneficial to you. However, if you're discovered by my elder brother or that boy from the Yun family, you'll definitely die. For this reason, I can't let you take the risk. Xia Jie looked at Duan Lingtian as he spoke. Then, he raised his hand and 2 items appeared in his hand before he passed them to Duan Lingtian. That's all I can help you with. When you ascend to a Devata realm, don't be in a hurry to leave the celestial ascension pool. Try to temper your 99 heavenly veins in the celestial ascension pool. It'll only be beneficial to you. Boy, I look forward to seeing you again in the divine offering land. I hope you won't disappoint me in Shui. After Xia Jie passed the 2 items to Duan Lingtian, he left without waiting for Duan Lingtian to return to his senses. Immediately after, the spatial crack that he had just torn open also gradually closed up. Duan Lingtian only regained his senses after the tear in space closed. He lowered his head and looked at the 2 items Xia Jie had left for him. The 2 items were a sword and a dark green jade token that was shrouded in a mysterious light. At the same time, the snake-like cracks in space gradually closed, returning the entire space to its original tranquility. Phew. Tang Xiaoxiao, who was standing near Duan Lingtian, heaved a sigh of relief. Earlier, she had accompanied Duan Lingtian to the gates of hell. She had almost been killed by Yun Yi. Wait for me. Duan Lingtian did not look at the 2 items in his hand. He looked up at the sky and clenched his fists before he let out a roar that shook space. It was as though he was trying to vent the frustration in his chest. Tang Xiaoxiao was taken aback by Duan Lingtian's sudden outburst. When Tang Xiaoxiao regained her senses, she looked at Duan Lingtian and asked, "Can you tell me more about you and your wife?" At this moment, Tang Xiaoxiao found out Duan Lingtian had a wife and a child. Moreover, Duan Lingtian's wife was not an ordinary person. When Duan Lingtian told Tang Xiaoxiao about his relationship with his wife, Tang Xiaoxiao could not help but sigh before she comforted him. She comforted him and said, "Don't worry, you'll definitely reunite with your wife. Didn't Senior Xia Jie say that? You still have 1,000 years to live. It hasn't even been 100 years since you started cultivating in this lifetime. I believe that if you were given another 1,000 years, you would definitely have the strength to gain the approval of your father-in-law." Tang Xiaoxiao comforted him. Although Tang Xiaoxiao comforted Tang Xiaoxiao, she did not think the same way. Naturally, it was not that she did not think Duan Lingtian would be strong enough to gain the approval of his father-in-law in 1,000 years. However, she did not think it would be easy for Duan Lingtian to possess such strength in 1,000 years. Although Duan Lingtian was not even 100 years old, he was still very strong. However, no matter how strong Duan Lingtian was, his strength was only comparable to a golden celestial in the Devata realms. Although Xia Jie did not say how strong Duan Lingtian would have to be to gain the approval of his father-in-law, Tang Xiaoxiao was certain Duan Lingtian would be strong enough to gain the approval of his father-in-law. However, in her opinion, Duan Lingtian would have to be stronger than a group of heavenly emperors in the Devata realms. After all, the person from before was also a servant of the Yun family from the world of divine remains. He was even stronger than most of the heavenly emperors. Even with Duan Lingtian's current foundation, it would still be difficult for him to become stronger than heavenly emperors in the Devata realms in 1,000 years. Yes. Although Duan Lingtian knew Tang Xiaoxiao was trying to comfort him, he still nodded solemnly. There was no turning back for him at this moment. After 1,000 years, regardless of whether he would be strong enough to gain the approval of his father-in-law, he would have to make a trip to the divine offering land. Even if he had to risk his life, he would not allow his wife to marry another man. In the next few days, Tang Xiaoxiao stayed by Duan Lingtian's side and accompanied Duan Lingtian back to Earth. They spent a few days on Earth. Duan Lingtian had not returned to Earth for several decades. The changes on Earth were so great that he did not even dare to imagine it. However, Duan Lingtian was not in a good mood due to the appearance of Yunyi and Xiajia in the divine offering land a few days ago. For this reason, after spending a few days on Earth, Duan Lingtian decided to leave with Tang Xiaoxiao. They planned to leave Yanhuang realm and return to the Saint Province realm through the Beyond Heaven secret zone. In the divine offering land. After Yunyi fled in a sorry state from Xiajia, he immediately returned to the divine offering land and the Yun family. Young Master. When Yunyi saw Yun Qingyan, the great young master of the Yun clan, he only had time to greet Yun Qingyan before he was interrupted by Yun Qingyan. Yun Qingyan smiled and said, Yunyi, since you're back, I'm sure Duan Lingtian is dead. You've done a good job. Yun Qingyan nodded in satisfaction as he looked at Yunyi. From the beginning until the end, he did not think Yunyi would fail. Although Yunyi was not as strong as him, he was comparable to the strongest heavenly emperors among the 81 heavenly emperors in the Devata realms. With such strength, it would be easy for Yunyi to kill a brat from the mundane realms. Young Master, I failed. Yunyi bowed before Yun Qingyan and said hesitantly, Young Master, I failed. As soon as he said this, the atmosphere in the area fell silent in an instant. Yunyi looked at Yun Qingyan, who had a frozen smile on his face. He was so nervous that he did not even dare to breathe loudly. What happened? Yun Qingyan finally spoke. His voice was calm, and it was impossible to tell if he was happy or angry. However, the calmer Yunyi was, the more nervous he became. He knew his young master would only react in such a manner when he was extremely angry. Lord Xiajie intervened. Yunyi did not dare to be negligent when faced with Yun Qingyan's question. He quickly recounted everything that had happened. At that time I was about to kill Duan Lingtian, but Lord Xiajie appeared at the critical moment and protected Duan Lingtian. Young master, I'm sorry for being useless. As he finished speaking, Yunyi lowered his head like a child that had made a mistake. Since Uncle Xiajie appeared to protect that brat, you can't be blamed for this. Yun Qingyan narrowed his eyes. Yun Qingyan narrowed his eyes as a cold glint flashed in his eyes. However, why would he appear in the mundane realm and protect that brat? Did he know I would send someone to kill that brat? I remember. Only the two of us know about this. Yun Qingyan looked at Yunyi as he spoke. The way he looked at Yunyi was not because he doubted him. Yunyi had been with the Yun family for many years and could be considered an elder of the Yun family. Moreover, even if Yunyi wanted to betray him, he would not betray him for a brat from the mundane realm. He merely thought it was a coincidence. Young master, is it possible that Miss Ningxue asked Xiajie to protect Duan Lingtian? Yunyi glanced at Yun Qingyan cautiously before he voiced his guess. Yun Qingyan narrowed his eyes when he heard Yunye's words. Even if Xiajie wanted to protect Duan Lingtian, he would only be able to do so until the spatial tunnel between the divine offering land and the Devata realms closes. Chapter 2545. In the Xia family of the divine offering land. In a heavily guarded courtyard, the flowers were lush and the air was fresh. One could vaguely hear the chirping of birds. It was like the ethereal sound of a valley. It was very pleasant to the ears. In a quiet room at the back of the courtyard, a white figure was sitting cross-legged on an ice bed that was emitting dense cold air. This was a woman. She was dressed in snow-white clothes and possessed a devastatingly beautiful face that caused everything in her surroundings to seem to be overshadowed by her. She sat there quietly as though she had become one with the ice bed beneath her. Her body was constantly emitting dense cold air. It was as if she was not a living person but an ice sculpture. However, if one took a closer look, they would see that she was a beautiful woman. At that instant, this peerless beauty in a snow-white dress had her beautiful eyebrows slightly knitted together. Her perfect and flawless cheeks twitched slightly as if she was enduring some sort of pain. At the same time, the aura that extended from her body was constantly changing and becoming stronger. Shua. Only when a vigorous voice sounded from outside did the white-clothed lady, who was sitting cross-legged on the ice bed, relax her pair of willowy eyebrows. At the same time she opened her tightly shut eyes. She opened her eyes, revealing a pair of beautiful eyes. The woman who had opened her eyes was even more radiant than when she had closed her eyes. Whoosh! A gust of wind blew past, and the white-clad woman disappeared from the ice bed. She opened the door of the quiet room with a bang and went to the backyard outside the quiet room. In the backyard, a sloppy middle-aged man stood there. The middle-aged man had his messy hair draped behind his back, revealing a square face. He had big eyes and eyebrows, and as he stood there, he exuded a dignified aura. Third uncle. The fairy-like woman in white didn't care about the middle-aged man's unkempt appearance at all. She immediately flew forward and held the middle-aged man's arm. She blinked her watery eyes and asked, "What's wrong with you? Have you seen Brother Tian?" As soon as the woman said this, her delicate body couldn't help but tremble slightly, and waves of excitement appeared in the depths of her eyes. "You little girl," third uncle rushed over to you as soon as he returned. "You didn't even ask if third uncle was tired. Instead you asked me if I saw that brat. It seems that third uncle's position in your heart is far inferior to that brat. Sigh, girls are extroverted, girls are extroverted." The unkempt middle-aged man was none other than Xia Jie, the third master of the Xia clan from the Divine Offering Land. After all, Xia Jie had just returned to the Divine Offering Land from the Devata realms. He managed to return before the spatial tunnel between the Divine Offering Land and the Devata realms closed. "Third uncle, you're teasing Schwer again." The woman's beautiful cheeks blushed shyly as she said with some embarrassment. All right. Third uncle won't tease you anymore." Xia Jie shook his head. Then his expression turned solemn as he said, "I saw that brat. Fortunately I arrived in time. Otherwise he would have been killed by Yun Qingyan's men." "What?" The woman's expression changed drastically when she heard Xia Jie's words. Her eyes that were originally calm were instantly filled with rage. "Yun Qingyan. How dare he send men to kill Brother Tian?" The woman was none other than Duan Lingtian's wife, Ke. She was also the eldest miss of the Xia clan in the Divine Offering Land, Xianing Shui. "That brat must have heard that your father had imprisoned you and took your spatial ring." Xia Jie paused for a moment before he said, "That brat must have heard about your father taking away your spatial ring." Xia Jie paused for a moment before he continued to say, "I suspect that your father intentionally let him know that your spatial ring was taken away so that he could use Yun Qingyan to get rid of that brat." Xia Jie could not help but sigh when he finished speaking. He knew very well how much his elder brother, the clan leader of the Xia clan, disliked that brat from the mundane realm. Back then, when his elder brother found out that his niece had reincarnated and found a husband and gave birth to a daughter, he was furious. He had almost left the Divine Offering Land and went to the mundane realm to hunt that brat down. "Father." Ke's eyes were filled with rage, but she did not know how to vent her anger. After all, that person was her father. Apart from being Ke, she was also the eldest miss of the Xia clan in the Divine Offering Land, Xianing Shui. "Third uncle, is Brother Tian all right?" Ke asked worriedly. "Don't worry, he's fine." Xia Jie shook his head. "Apart from that, I've also told him that the spatial tunnel between the Divine Offering Land and the Devata realms will be closed for 1,000 years. In the next 1,000 years, your father will have many things to do, so he won't be able to arrange your marriage with Yun Qingyan. However, when the matter of the Divine Offering Land is over, your father will definitely bring up the matter again and force you to submit to him. I've already told that brat about all this. He's a person with a strong will. Perhaps a miracle will happen in 1,000 years." When Xia Jie reached the end of his sentence, he found it hard to believe his own words. Previously, when they were in the mundane realm, he had told Duan Lingtian to strive to obtain the approval of his elder brother, the clan leader of the Xia clan, after 1,000 years. However, he did not think it was possible. A miracle. Ke smiled bitterly when she heard Xia Jie's words. "Third uncle, although Brother Tian's innate talent and fortuitous encounters are good, it's impossible for him to obtain the approval of father in just 1,000 years. Shui, you must trust him. I'm sure he wants you to trust him as well," Xia Jie said. "I trust you. Of course I believe in him. But this time, I won't let him bear this burden alone." Ke looked at Xia Jie and said, "Third uncle, since the spatial tunnel between the Divine Offering Land and the Devata realms has been closed, it's impossible for people from the Divine Offering Land to go to the Devata realms or the mundane realms through the Devata realms. Once the spatial tunnel is closed, father won't keep me under house arrest anymore. At that time I want to go to the realm battlefield. A hint of determination flashed in Ker's eyes when she finished speaking. Swoosh. However, as soon as Ker's voice fell, Xiaojie's expression changed and he shook his head. He shook his head and said, "No. You can't go to the realm battlefield. Put aside the fact that you haven't recovered to the level you were in your past life, even if you've recovered, it's still very dangerous for you to go to the realm battlefield." "I don't agree. I don't agree," Xiaojie said resolutely. "Third uncle, if you don't agree no one will help me," Ker smiled bitterly and said, "Third uncle, I really don't want brother Tian to bear this burden alone. He's done enough for me in the past. Now that I have a chance to change my fate, I'll give it a try no matter what. If I don't try this time I'll regret it in 1,000 years. Ker looked at Xiaojie with an unshakable gaze. "You little girl." This was the first time Xiaojie had seen his niece so serious. She was so serious that he did not know how to continue insisting on his decision. In the end he sighed and said, "You should think about it again. That's the realm battlefield we're talking about. No one will show mercy to you there." The spatial tunnel from the Divine Offering Land to the Devata realms was closed because the realm battlefield in the Divine Offering Land was about to open. The Divine Offering Land was a realm that was separated from the Devata realms and the mundane realms. It was a realm created by a supreme powerhouse. Apart from the Divine Offering Land, there were other realms created by supreme powerhouses. Every 10,000 years, the planes created by these supreme masters would meet in pairs. At that time the realm battlefield would open. Both realms would send people out to fight it out in the realm battlefield. Once the realm battlefield opened it would last for 1,000 years. Whether it was the people from the Divine Offering Land or other realms, if they wanted to raise their strength quickly, they would have to enter the realm battlefield. In the realm battlefield, they would be able to raise their strength in a short time through combat and various opportunities. Naturally, there were risks associated with great rewards. There were people dying in the realm battlefield almost every second. "Third uncle, there's no need to think about it. I've thought about it. If I want to regain my strength or even surpass my strength in 1,000 years, the only way is to enter the realm battlefield," Ker said as she shook her head. "Although I believe in brother Tian, I hope to be able to fight alongside him in 1,000 years. Ku'er's tone was resolute, leaving no room for negotiation. In fact, although she said so, she didn't really think so in her heart. After all, if brother Tian was strong enough to gain her father's approval after 1,000 years, she had to be strong. For this reason she had to become stronger so that she could change her fate after 1,000 years. In her past life she was willing to end her own life in order to break up the marriage. However, she did not expect her father would not approve of her even if she ended her life in her past life. Her father still insisted on marrying her to Yun Qingyan. She had too many things to worry about in this life. For this reason she could not end her own life like she did in her past life. She wanted to enter the realm battlefield and fight for her future. Even if she died in the realm battlefield she would have no regrets. At the very least she tried her best. "Brother Tian, this time, Ker won't let you be alone. No matter how difficult this journey is, Ker will go with you. We'll live and die together." Chapter 2546. Naturally, Duan Tian was unaware of what was going on in the Divine Offering Land. He also didn't know that Ku'er was preparing to enter the extremely dangerous planar battlefield, all for the sake of obtaining the strength to change both their fates after 1,000 years. If he knew about this, he would be so worried that he would want to grow a pair of wings and fly to the Divine Offering Land to stop Ker. A month later, Duan Tian brought Tang Xiaoxiao back to the Cost Galaxy. Although Duan Tian and Tang Xiaoxiao had traveled at full speed from the Cost Galaxy to the Milky Way, it had taken them 3 months to reach the Milky Way. However, it only took him a month to bring Tang Xiaoxiao back to the Cost Galaxy. This time, the reason why he took so much less time was because he had comprehended the 13 Green Lotus Swords to the extreme and completely grasped the 13 Green Lotus Swords. That was why his speed had increased so much. After all, Duan Tian, who had mastered the 13 Green Lotus Swords, was as strong as a golden celestial in the Devata realms. "I wonder if the people in this galaxy have forgotten about us?" Tang Xiaoxiao muttered to herself as they made their way to the interstellar transportation formation on planet Satel in the Cost Galaxy. Back then, she and Duan Tian were attacked by 18 disaster-level battleships from the Garnier family in the Cost Galaxy. The scene had been broadcasted to the entire Cost Galaxy. At that time, she had already used her divine sense to investigate this clearly. At that time, there were not many people in the Cost Galaxy who did not know about Duan Tian and Tang Xiaoxiao. That's the two cultivators from a few months ago? Heavens! Why are they here again? Why are they here again? What are they trying to do? When Duan Ling Tian and Tang Xiao Xiao appeared near the interstellar transportation formation on planet Satel, many people recognized them. They could not help but panic. It was as though they were ferocious beasts. It seems like they haven't forgotten about us. Tang Xiao Xiao smiled. One of the people from the Cost Galaxy who was standing nearby heard Tang Xiao Xiao's words, and his mouth twitched. This female cultivator seemed to be surprised that the people of the Cost Galaxy had not forgotten about them. What a joke. Even if a few years had passed, the people of the Cost Galaxy would never forget these two cultivators, let alone a few months. After all, the young man among the two cultivators had destroyed a disaster-level battleship with a single strike. Moreover, he had walked out of the bombardment of 17 disaster-level battleships unscathed. This was the first time in the history of the Cost Galaxy that such a terrifying cultivator had appeared. The incident that happened a few months ago had already been recorded in the Cost Galaxy's historical records. The title of the record was as follows: A Godlike Man. Whoosh, whoosh. When they saw Duan Ling Tian and Tang Xiao Xiao disappear into the interstellar transportation formation, the people from the Cost Galaxy heaved a sigh of relief. So they were just passing by. I was scared to death just now. However, I really didn't expect that we would be able to see them with our own eyes. Compared to what we saw in the projection, what we saw just now was much more vivid, and their auras were much stronger. That's right. I didn't even dare to breathe when I saw them earlier. Due to the arrival of Duan Ling Tian and Tang Xiao Xiao, the entire Cost Galaxy was in an uproar. It was only after they confirmed that Duan Ling Tian and Tang Xiao Xiao were just passing by that the Cost Galaxy calmed down. Based on this, one could see how powerful Duan Ling Tian was in the Cost Galaxy. Duan Ling Tian was unaware of this. Even if he knew, he would not feel anything since it was nothing to be proud of. After all, it was only a galaxy ruled by an SS-grade technological civilization. An SSS-grade technological civilization that stood at the pinnacle of technological civilization in Yanhuang realm had an apocalypse-level battleship. This type of galaxy represented the strongest technological civilization in Yanhuang realm. The galaxies ruled by technological civilizations were categorized into SSS grade, SS grade, S grade, A grade, B grade, C grade. The Milky Way was a galaxy ruled by an A-grade technological civilization, since the most advanced technological civilization in the Milky Way was only an A-grade technological civilization. It was 2 grades lower than the Cost Galaxy. However, Duan Lingtian's strength had increased again. Even when Duan Lingtian had just arrived in the Cost Galaxy, he did not feel pressured at all when he faced a galaxy ruled by an SSS-grade technological civilization. This was because even the apocalypse-level battleships that such galaxies relied on to survive would not be able to withstand a single blow from him. After all, his strength was comparable to a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial at that time. Duan Ling Tian, on our way back to the Beyond Heaven secret zone, will have to pass by the 1,000 Opportunities galaxy where the Tang sect is located. I want to visit the old ancestor and return the star chart to him. Tang Xiao Xiao told Duan Ling Tian as they passed through the interstellar transportation formations. All right. Duan Ling Tian nodded. Since it's on the way, I'll follow you back to the Tang sect. It did not take long for Duan Ling Tian and Tang Xiao Xiao to return to the 1,000 Opportunities galaxy that was ruled by the Tang sect. The interstellar teleportation array was located on the mother planet of the 1,000 Opportunities galaxy, planet Shutang. Tang Xiao Xiao was in a good mood when she first returned. However, when Tang Xiao Xiao returned to the Tang sect and saw Tang Chong, the sect leader of Tang sect, she learned something from him. Her expression changed drastically. The old ancestor is dead? When Tang Xiao Xiao learned from Tang Chong that Tang Zhongyi, the supreme elder of Tang sect, had died, she was on the verge of breaking down. Tears streamed down her beautiful face, making her look extremely pitiful. What happened? Duan Ling Tian asked when he saw the anger and unwillingness in Tang Chong's eyes when he mentioned this matter to Tang Xiao Xiao. It's the 9-tribulation bodiless celestial from the Heavenly Wave Mansion. He made a move. Tang Chong smiled wryly. He said we broke the engagement and made fun of the Heavenly Wave Mansion. For this reason he killed Elder Yi to punish us for breaking the engagement. I didn't expect the old man from the Heavenly Wave Mansion would personally make a move. Tang Chong was furious and resentful when he finished speaking. However, no matter how angry he was or how unwilling he was, it was of no use. After all, the old ancestor was a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial. As soon as Tang Chong finished speaking, before Duan Ling Tian could react, he saw Tang Xiao Xiao crying. Tang Xiao Xiao's eyes were red from crying, and she looked very pitiful. She turned to look at him with a cold gleam in her eyes. Naturally, her gaze was not directed at Duan Lingtian. It was directed at the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from the heavenly wave mansion. Duan Lingtian, help me kill him. As long as you help me kill him, my life is yours. Tang Xiaoxiao said through gritted teeth. She seemed to have lost her mind as she glared at Duan Lingtian. To Tang Xiaoxiao, Tang Zhongyi was not only her ancestor, but he was also the one who had taken care of her as she grew up. He treated her like his own granddaughter. As for her, she also considered Tang Zhongyi as her biological grandfather. Now that she knew that Tang Zhongyi had been killed because of her heart was filled with regret. At the same time, she also hated the person who killed Tang Zhongyi to the bone. She wanted to tear the person into pieces and burn his bones to ashes. However, she knew with her strength, she would only be seeking death if she went to the heavenly wave mansion. Therefore, she could only place all her hopes on Duan Lingtian. In order to avenge her family's ancestor, she was even willing to bet her own life. Lead the way. Duan Lingtian did not say anything to comfort Tang Xiaoxiao when he sensed her anger. He knew words would not be as effective as action at this moment. Thank you. As expected, Tang Xiaoxiao's body trembled when she heard Duan Lingtian's words. Then she nodded at Duan Lingtian and thanked him. Then, under Tang Chang's shocked gaze, he took the lead and led the way to the interstellar transportation formation again. Duan Lingtian followed Tang Xiaoxiao through the interstellar transportation formation and left the Thousand Opportunities galaxy that was ruled by the Heavenly Wave Mansion. In the Heavenly Wave Galaxy. The Heavenly Wave Mansion's estate was located on the mother planet of the Heavenly Wave Galaxy. It was also where Duan Lingtian and Tang Xiaoxiao were staying. Whoosh, whoosh. Duan Lingtian followed Tang Xiaoxiao to the estate of the Heavenly Wave Mansion. Who are you? How dare you trespass in the Heavenly Wave Mansion? As soon as Duan Lingtian and Tang Xiaoxiao entered the Heavenly Wave Mansion's estate, a group of patrolling disciples from the Heavenly Wave Mansion immediately reacted and flew out in an attempt to intercept them. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Tang Xiaoxiao raised her hand, and rays of light shot out and killed the patrolling disciples of the Heavenly Wave Mansion. Duan Lingtian could not help but shake his head when he saw Tang Xiaoxiao's ruthlessness. However, Duan Lingtian could understand why Tang Xiaoxiao was so angry. Previously, when he went to the Milky Way with Tang Xiaoxiao from the Cost Galaxy, Tang Xiaoxiao had told him a lot about her and her ancestor, Tang Zhongyi. Therefore, he knew about the relationship between Tang Xiaoxiao and her ancestor. Chapter 2547. Someone's trespassing in the Heavenly Wave Mansion? Who's there? How dare they? It didn't take long for Tang Xiaoxiao to cause a stir in Skywave Prefecture because of her actions. Not long after Duan Lingtian and Tang Xiaoxiao entered the Heavenly Wave Mansion's estate, they were surrounded by a group of people from the Heavenly Wave Mansion. More and more people arrived. Initially, there were only a few dozen people, but soon there were several hundred people. Moreover, these people's cultivation bases were quite high. Duan Lingtian scanned the area with his divine consciousness and discovered that the Heavenly Wave Mansion's cultivation base was at least at the Heavenly Wave Mansion. Among these people, the weakest cultivation base was at the 7th form of the Saint Celestial stage. Moreover, there were many bodiless celestials with high cultivation bases among these people. An eminent celestial whose strength is comparable to a 5 tribulation bodiless celestial? A 5 tribulation bodiless celestial from Heavenly Wave Prefecture blocked Tang Xiaoxiao's path. The two of them were evenly matched and it was difficult to determine the winner. The black-clad woman was only an eminent celestial, but her strength was comparable to a 5 tribulation bodiless celestial. Who's she? She's only an eminent celestial and yet she possesses such strength. Logically speaking, she shouldn't be a nobody. I feel like she looks familiar, but I can't remember where I've seen her before. The group of people from Skywave Prefecture fixed their eyes on Tang Xiaoxiao and began to talk among themselves. The dagger in her hand. It seems to be a celestial supreme treasure. A bodiless celestial from the Heavenly Wave Mansion exclaimed as he stared at the dagger in Tang Xiaoxiao's hand. The people from the Heavenly Wave Mansion immediately shifted their attention to the dagger in Tang Xiaoxiao's hand. It's indeed a celestial supreme treasure. Soon after, more and more bodiless celestials confirmed that the dagger in Tang Xiaoxiao's hand was a celestial supreme treasure. It was as though they could not wait to snatch the dagger away from Tang Xiaoxiao. While most of the people from the Heavenly Wave Mansion were still focused on the celestial supreme treasure in Tang Xiaoxiao's hand, I remember now. A young disciple of the Skywave Prefecture relaxed his brows and suddenly let out a cry of surprise. She's Tang Xiaoxiao. She's Tang Xiaoxiao. I've seen her once. She's Tang Xiaoxiao. He's the #1 figure among the younger generation of the Tang sect. As soon as the young man spoke, many people who found the black-clothed woman familiar were able to confirm her identity. She was Tang Xiaoxiao, the #1 disciple of the Tang sect. Why did Tang Xiaoxiao barge into our Skywave Prefecture? Many disciples of Skywave Prefecture who were not well informed were puzzled. As far as they knew, Tang Xiaoxiao was their young mansion master's fiancée. I'm afraid you don't know that the Tang sect has already cancelled the engagement between Tang Xiaoxiao and our young mansion master. Upon hearing the discussion among the disciples of Heavenly Wave Mansion, some of the more well-informed disciples chimed in, "That's right, we're in the same boat." For this reason, the old ancestor of Heavenly Wave Mansion personally killed Tang Zhongyi, the supreme elder of Tang sect, to punish the Tang sect. Are you serious? Why is the matter so serious? I didn't hear anything about such a big thing. The disciples of Heavenly Wave Mansion who were not well informed were shocked. Why did Tang Xiaoxiao come to our Skywave Mansion? Is she here to avenge our old ancestor? Many people who knew the relationship between Tang Xiaoxiao and Tang Zhongyi, the supreme elder of Tang sect who was killed by the Heavenly Wave Mansion's old ancestor, looked at Tang Xiaoxiao as though they were looking at an idiot. Tang Xiaoxiao. At this moment, a frivolous voice rang in the air. Swoosh. Soon after, a young man wearing embroidered clothes with unsteady footsteps appeared in a timely manner. As soon as the young man in embroidered clothes appeared, the people in the vicinity immediately opened up a path for him. At the same time, many people bowed respectfully at him. Young Mansion Master. Young Mansion Master. Based on the way the people addressed the young man, it was obvious who he was. He was the young Mansion Master of Skywave Mansion, Yang Yu Ting. He was also Tang Xiaoxiao's fiancé. What? Tang Xiaoxiao, are you regretting coming to our Skywave Mansion today? You don't want to break the engagement anymore? Yang Yu Ting looked at Tang Xiaoxiao condescendingly as soon as he appeared. His eyes were filled with mockery. He was furious when he learned the Tang sect was going to break the engagement. However, when he learned the old ancestor of Heavenly Wave Mansion had killed Tang Zhongyi, the supreme elder of Tang sect, who was also Tang Xiaoxiao's old ancestor, he had vented his anger. At that time he knew it was impossible for him to be with Tang Xiaoxiao. He knew Tang Xiaoxiao's character very well. Since the old ancestor of Heavenly Wave Mansion had killed Tang Zhongyi, she would rather die than marry him. For this reason he was only teasing Tang Xiaoxiao when he said those words. After all, he could see it. Tang Xiaoxiao had killed many of the patrolling disciples of Heavenly Wave Mansion to stir up trouble. It was obvious she knew her old ancestor was killed by the old ancestor of Heavenly Wave Mansion. Yang Yu Ting. Tang Xiaoxiao's eyes turned even redder when she saw Yang Yu Ting. At the same time, she ignored the 5 tribulation bodiless celestial who was fighting her and flew toward Yang Yu Ting. Yang Yu Ting's expression changed when he saw Tang Xiaoxiao charging toward him. His strength was only comparable to a 4 tribulation bodiless celestial. After all, he did not possess a celestial supreme treasure. He was no match for Tang Xiaoxiao, who possessed a celestial supreme treasure and was comparable to a 5 tribulation bodiless celestial. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. However, he sighed in relief when he saw a few figures appearing in front of him. The people standing in front of Yang Yu Ting were the 5 tribulation bodiless celestials and 6 tribulation bodiless celestials from Heavenly Wave Mansion. After they appeared in front of Yang Yu Ting, they glared at Tang Xiaoxiao fiercely. Tang Xiaoxiao, surrender. With your strength, you're destined to die for trespassing in the Heavenly Wave Mansion. Kneel down and beg the young mansion master for mercy. Perhaps he'll give you a quick death. The 5 tribulation bodiless celestials and 6 tribulation bodiless celestials looked at Tang Xiaoxiao as though they were looking at a dead person. Tang Xiaoxiao, you bitch. Are you regretting it now? Who told you to refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit? It's your blessing that I, Yang Yu Ting, have taken a liking to you. Not only do you not cherish it, but you even want to break the engagement. You're revolting. Yang Yu Ting said arrogantly as he stood behind the group of 5 tribulation bodiless celestials. Yang Yu Ting, if you're still a man, step forward and fight me to the death. Tang Xiaoxiao said coldly as she glared at Yang Yu Ting. However, Tang Xiaoxiao was met with a disdainful snort from Yang Yu Ting. Duan Lingtian, I'll kill him with my own hands. Upon hearing Yang Yu Ting's words, Tang Xiaoxiao turned to look at Duan Lingtian and pleaded, help me. Chem? When Tang Xiaoxiao turned to look at Duan Lingtian, the people from Heavenly Wave Mansion finally realized what was going on. Tang Xiaoxiao was not alone when she trespassed in the Skywave Mansion. She had a companion with her. However, due to Tang Xiaoxiao's strength and the celestial supreme treasure in her hand, they did not notice the purple-clad young man who had trespassed in the Skywave Mansion. "Get lost if you don't want to die," Duanling Tian said coldly as he pointed his finger at the people from the Heavenly Wave Mansion who were looking at him. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. A sword ray whizzed out from the tip of his finger. Then, it transformed into thousands of sword rays that formed a sword formation before it shot toward the 5 and 6 tribulation bodiless celestials from Skywave Mansion who were blocking Tang Xiaoxiao's path. The sword formation that was formed by thousands of sword lights whistled through the air, emitting a fierce aura that sent chills down the spines of the 5 and 6 tribulation bodiless celestial spines. One by one they launched an attack. Boom, 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 boom. However, the attacks of the group of people were unable to withstand a single blow from the ferocious sword rays and were easily defeated. Barf, barf. The 5 and 6 tribulation bodiless celestials were injured by the sword formation. They could not help but spit out mouthfuls of blood as they hurriedly retreated. After all, if they did not retreat they would be killed by the sword formation. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Under the shocked gazes of the disciples from Skywave Mansion, Duanlingtian's sword formation easily repelled the 5 and 6 tribulation bodiless celestials from Skywave Mansion and opened a path for Tang Xiaoxiao. Yang Yuting. Tang Xiaoxiao's eyes were cold as she charged toward Yang Yuting. Her face was expressionless when she saw Duanlingtian opening a path for Yang Yuting. Yang Yuting was shocked by Duanlingtian's strength. Faced with the ferocious Tang Xiaoxiao and Duanlingtian, he did not have the heart to fight back at all. For this reason he was at a disadvantage in just a blink of an eye. After a while Tang Xiaoxiao saw an opportunity. The dagger in her hand was like a poisonous snake as it viciously bit toward Yang Yuting's neck. If this attack hit, Yang Yuting would definitely die. Stop. Stop. At this critical moment, two urgent roars came from afar at the same time. Two powerful forces appeared in the sky as they attempted to stop Tang Xiaoxiao from killing Yang Yuting. These two forces came from 2-7 tribulation bodiless celestials from Skywave Mansion. They were about to succeed in stopping Tang Xiaoxiao from killing Yang Yuting. However, at this moment something unexpected happened. Chapter 2548. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. The sound of sword whistling in the air rang in the air. With just a thought, Duanling Tian caused the dimmed sword formation that he had used to pave the way for Tang Xiaoxiao to light up again. They were like bright stars in the night sky, gorgeous and dazzling. The thousands of sword lights in the sword formation swallowed and emitted ear-piercing sword whistles. As soon as the sword formation lit up again, it suddenly changed direction and rushed toward Tang Xiaoxiao and Yang Yuting. Boom, 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 boom. A series of explosions rang in the air as Duanlingtian's sword formation easily destroyed the two forces that were trying to stop Tang Xiaoxiao from killing Yang Yuting. Although the two forces were powerful and came from 2-7 tribulation bodiless celestials, Duanlingtian's attack did not last long. However, in front of Duanlingtian's sword formation, it could only perish together with the sword formation. Both of them disappeared in the air, leaving behind waves of energy that swept out in all directions. Rip, rip, rip. At the same time, terrifying spatial cracks appeared in space. They were like huge pythons that swung their huge bodies. It was extremely vivid and terrifying. With Duanlingtian's current strength, he should be able to easily defeat the 2-7 tribulation bodiless celestials. However, since Duanlingtian did not use his celestial supreme treasure or cast the divine ability, the 13 green lotus swords, his strength was only comparable to the full-strength attack of an ordinary 7 tribulation bodiless celestial. It was just enough to withstand the attacks of 2-7 tribulation bodiless celestials. Stop. How dare you? The 2-7 tribulation bodiless celestials who had rushed over did not even have the time to see who had blocked their attacks. They glared at Tang Xiaoxiao and shouted at her. Slash. However, Tang Xiaoxiao ignored their cries and stabbed the dagger in her hand into Yang Yuting's throat. Yang Yuting, who had lost all will to fight, was instantly killed. After killing Yang Yuting, she didn't seem to be satisfied yet. She activated her power and destroyed Yang Yuting's body, leaving nothing behind. Although Yang Yuting was not the one who had killed her ancestor, she was the one who had killed him. In her opinion, if Yang Yuting did not insist on marrying her, none of this would have happened. Yang Yuting was the culprit who indirectly caused the death of her ancestor. It could even be said that she was the culprit. Gasp, 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 Gasp. Gasp. When the people from Heavenly Wave Mansion saw Jianghu Ting, the young mansion master of Heavenly Wave Mansion, being killed, they could not help but gasp in unison. The 2-7 Tribulation bodiless celestials who had just arrived was especially shocked. It was not hard to imagine that when the Mansion Master of Heavenly Wave Prefecture found out that the young Mansion Master of Heavenly Wave Prefecture had died in front of them, he would not let them off so easily. How dare you kill our young Mansion Master? You're seeking death. Die. The 2-7 Tribulation bodiless celestials from Heavenly Wave Mansion were so focused on redeeming themselves that they completely ignored Duanling Tian who had stopped them earlier. They charged toward Tang Xiao as their energy surged. Tang Xiao must die. Most of the people from Heavenly Wave Mansion thought to themselves. Although Tang Xiao's companion had stopped the 2-7 Tribulation bodiless celestials from Heavenly Wave Mansion, they could tell he was only a 7 Tribulation bodiless celestial. That person's strength was only at the level of a 7 Tribulation bodiless celestial. He should also be a 7 Tribulation bodiless celestial. How could a 7 Tribulation bodiless celestial stop the 2-7 Tribulation bodiless celestials from Heavenly Wave Mansion? Tang Xiao remained calm when she saw the 2-7 Tribulation bodiless celestials charging at her. It was as though she was not afraid at all. I'd like to see who's courting death. Duanling Tian said coldly when he saw the 2-7 Tribulation bodiless celestials from the Heavenly Wave Mansion flying toward Tang Xiao. Their attacks were like huge hammers that were about to land on her. Swish, 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 swish. As soon as Duanling Tian finished speaking, more than 10 afterimages appeared on the sword formation beneath his feet before they gathered together and brought him to Tang Xiao's side at the fastest speed possible. Duanling Tian's speed was so fast that the 2-7 Tribulation bodiless celestials did not even have time to react. It was only when they saw a flash of light in front of them that their expressions changed drastically. Swish, 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 swish. The 2-7 Tribulation bodiless celestials' expressions changed drastically when the sword formation under Duanling Tian's feet seemed to have transformed into the Grim Reaper's scythe. Not only did it defeat the 2-7 Tribulation bodiless celestials, but it also killed them in just a blink of an eye. The sound of sword whistling rang in the air as blood splattered everywhere. The 2-7 Tribulation bodiless celestials were killed instantly. How's this possible? The 5 Tribulation bodiless celestials and 6 Tribulation bodiless celestials were the first to react. When they saw the person beside Tang Xiao killing the 2-7 Tribulation bodiless celestials in just a blink of an eye, they broke out in cold sweat. These people were the ones who had blocked Jianghu Ting's path earlier. It was Duanling Tian who had forced them to retreat. They could only imagine, if the purple-clad young man next to Tang Xiao hadn't shown them any mercy, they would have been killed by his sword. Who's he? Is he Tang Xiao's helper? No wonder Tang Xiao dares to come to the Heavenly Wave Mansion alone. She's fearless. She knows there's a 9 Tribulation bodiless celestial in the Heavenly Wave Mansion, but she still dares to come here. Does this mean the purple-clad young man beside her is a 9 Tribulation bodiless celestial? After a few moments, the other people from the Heavenly Wave Mansion regained their senses as well. Apart from fear, they looked at Duanling Tian in fear. It was as though they were afraid Duanling Tian would attack them. 9 Tribulation bodiless celestial? The 5 Tribulation bodiless celestials and 6 Tribulation bodiless celestials from the Heavenly Wave Mansion felt chills running down their spines when they heard their discussion. They looked at Duanling Tian anxiously. The people from the Heavenly Wave Mansion were looking at Duanling Tian with dread in their eyes. After a while, ting! An earth-shattering roar rang from the depths of the Heavenly Wave Mansion's estate. Accompanying this furious roar was the sound of a swift wind whistling. Whoosh! A moment later, another person appeared in everyone's line of sight. Surprisingly, it was a middle-aged man in a dark blue robe. The middle-aged man had a sturdy build and a square face. He had a dignified air about him. It was obvious he had been in a high position for a long time. Lord Mansion Master. Lord Mansion Master. Seeing the newcomer, the group of people from Skywave Prefecture bowed to him respectfully. The Mansion Master of Heavenly Wave Mansion? Duanling Tian raised an eyebrow. Based on the way the people from the Heavenly Wave Mansion addressed the newcomer, he was certain of the newcomer's identity. It was Yang Qingjian, the Mansion Master of Heavenly Wave Mansion. Tang Xiao, how dare you kill my son? Yang Qingjian ignored the people from the Heavenly Wave Mansion who bowed respectfully at him. He looked at Tang Xiao fiercely as soon as he appeared. Obviously before he came he already knew who killed his son Yang Yuding before he came here. This was normal. Yang Qingjian, the mansion master of Heavenly Wave Mansion, possessed his son Yang Yuting's soul pearl. Naturally, he would know about Yang Yuting's death immediately. Moreover, he would be able to see the scene of Yang Yuting's death through a special Dao talisman. Because of that, he already knew it was Tang Xiaoxiao who killed his son before he came here. So what if I did? Facing the question of Yang Qingjian, the mansion master of Heavenly Wave Prefecture, Tang Xiaoxiao was not afraid at all. Instead, she sneered and said, "When that old guy from Heavenly Wave Prefecture killed my ancestor, you should have expected such a thing." You? Yang Qingjian was furious when he heard her words. However, he did not do anything in the end. As the mansion master of Heavenly Wave Mansion, he was not stupid. Since Tang Xiaoxiao dared to enter the Heavenly Wave Mansion and act so arrogantly in front of him, she must have something to rely on. Naturally, it was the purple-clad young man next to her. This purple-clad young man is most likely a nine-tribulation bodiless celestial. Now, not only did the surrounding people of Skywave Prefecture think so, but even Yang Qingjian, the mansion master of Skywave Prefecture, also thought so. If the purple-clad young man was not a nine-tribulation bodiless celestial, how could Tang Xiaoxiao be so confident? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. They were the other 7 tribulation bodiless celestials and an 8 tribulation bodiless celestial from the base of the inner mansion of Heavenly Wave Prefecture. When they arrived, they learned what had happened from a group of people from Skywave Prefecture. Their eyes were filled with dread as they looked at Duan Lingtian. "Sir." At this moment, Yang Qingjian, the mansion master of Heavenly Wave Mansion, looked at Duan Lingtian and asked sincerely, "May I know what benefits the Tang sect has promised you for helping them?" "I, Yang Qingjian, the mansion master of Heavenly Wave Mansion, am willing to promise you that no matter what benefits the Tang sect promised you, the Heavenly Wave Mansion will pay you double. I only hope that you won't interfere in the matter between the Heavenly Wave Mansion and the Tang sect." It was obvious Yang Qingjian thought Duan Lingtian was an external help from the Tang sect. At this moment, everyone, including Yang Qingjian, the mansion master of Heavenly Wave Mansion, thought Duan Lingtian was a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial. In fact, if they used their divine consciousness to probe Duan Lingtian, it would only take them a short time to discover Duan Lingtian was only an eminent celestial. Chapter 2549. A 9-tribulation bodiless celestial was the pinnacle of the mundane realm. In the eyes of the mundane realm, 9-tribulation bodiless celestials were invincible. They were like gods. 9-tribulation bodiless celestials were not to be humiliated. This was the law of the mundane realm. No one dared to probe a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial with their divine consciousness since they would offend them. Even 2 9-tribulation bodiless celestials would not probe each other with their divine consciousness unless it was necessary. For this reason, Yang Qingjian, the mansion master of Heavenly Wave Mansion, and the others from the Heavenly Wave Mansion did not dare to probe Duan Lingtian's cultivation base with their divine consciousness since they were afraid of angering Duan Lingtian. "Do you think that the Tang sect promised me something in return for my help, and that's why I came here with Tang Xiaoxiao?" Duan Lingtian smiled faintly when he heard Yang Qingjian's words. "Is that not the case?" Yang Qingjian had an ominous feeling when he saw Duan Lingtian's reaction. However, he could not figure it out. It had been many years since Tang sect had a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial. If they did not promise Duan Lingtian something, why would Duan Lingtian come with them and interfere in the matter between the Heavenly Wave Mansion and Tang sect? "Ask your 9-tribulation bodiless celestial to come out." Duan Lingtian did not answer Yang Qingjian's question. Instead, he continued to speak nonchalantly. As soon as he opened his mouth, he asked Yang Qingjian to summon the old ancestor of Skywave Prefecture. Gasp. Yang Qingjian inhaled sharply when he saw Duan Lingtian's fearless attitude. He had a feeling Duan Lingtian was up to no good. He quickly crushed a communication jade token to inform the old ancestor of the Heavenly Wave Mansion. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As soon as Yang Qingjian crushed the communication jade token, Duan Lingtian shifted his gaze to the northeast of the Heavenly Wave Mansion's estate. At this very moment he could faintly sense a powerful aura rising from there. Moreover, it was rushing over at an extremely fast speed. Although I don't know the 9-tribulation bodiless celestials from Yanhuang realm, I've heard of them. Just as Duan Lingtian looked towards the northeast, an old but vigorous voice sounded from that direction. "How should I address you, fellow Taoist?" Whoosh. Almost at the same time as the old yet vigorous voice sounded, an old and elderly figure appeared in front of everyone like a ghost. Ancestor. The group of bodiless celestials led by Yang Qingjian, the mansion master of Heavenly Wave Mansion, bowed to the newcomer. "Ancestor?" Those from the Skywave Prefecture who had only heard of the old man but had never seen him before also came to their senses and bowed respectfully to the old man. The old man was the guardian of Heavenly Wave Mansion, a nine-tribulation bodiless celestial who stood at the peak of the mundane realm. The nine-tribulation bodiless celestial from Heavenly Wave Mansion was an old man dressed in a gray robe. He had a medium build and an ordinary appearance. He nodded at the people from Heavenly Wave Mansion before he shifted his gaze to Duan Lingtian. The old man and Duan Lingtian stood facing each other. All of a sudden, all the people from Skywave Prefecture held their breaths. After all, both of them were nine-tribulation bodiless celestials who stood at the peak of the mundane realm. There's no need for a dead man to know my name. The people from the Heavenly Wave Mansion thought Duan Lingtian would reveal his background when the old ancestor of the nine-tribulation bodiless celestial asked him about it. The people from Heavenly Wave Mansion were shocked when they heard Duan Lingtian's words. Even if Duan Lingtian was a nine-tribulation bodiless celestial, there was no need for him to be so arrogant. After all, the old ancestor of Heavenly Wave Mansion is also a nine-tribulation bodiless celestial. Dead man? Meh. The old man was taken aback when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. Then he sneered and said, "Sir, I know all the powerful nine-tribulation bodiless celestials in Yanhuang realm. Even the strongest nine-tribulation bodiless celestial in Yanhuang realm, the Gongsun clan, doesn't dare to say he's capable of killing me. However, based on your words, it seems like you're confident you can kill me." The sneer on the old man's face deepened. How naive. Does he really think the old ancestor of Heavenly Wave Mansion is a pushover? We're both nine-tribulation bodiless celestials. Does he really think he's invincible? Soon after, the people from Heavenly Wave Mansion regained their senses. They looked at Duan Lingtian as though they were looking at an idiot. In their eyes, Duan Lingtian was arrogant. In their eyes, Duan Lingtian was an arrogant and conceited person. Faced with the old man's sneer and the mockery from the Heavenly Wave Mansion, Duan Lingtian did not waste his breath. He merely snorted coldly. As he snorted coldly, he made his move as well. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Another series of rapid and ear-piercing sword whistles reverberated in the air. The energy in Duan Lingtian's body skyrocketed before it broke out of his body and transformed into tens of thousands of sword rays that condensed into a sword formation. Moreover, it brought out more than 10 afterimages as it charged toward the old man. This time, Duan Lingtian did not hold back at all. Apart from the assist-type divine ability, the elementary devouring tactic, and the technique granted to him by the highest stage of the Sovereign Heart Sword, he also cast the offensive divine ability, the 13 Green Lotus Swords. The 13 Green Lotus Swords were the profundity of the 13 Green Lotus Swords. Its power is only comparable to the full-force attack of an ordinary 7-tribulation bodiless celestial. The 9-tribulation bodiless celestial, the old ancestor of the Heavenly Wave Mansion, smirked disdainfully when he saw Duan Lingtian's sword formation had yet to merge with the 9-tribulation bodiless celestial. However, the sneer on his face froze in just a blink of an eye. This was because Duan Lingtian's sword formation had merged with the dozen or so afterimages behind it, causing an even more terrifying energy to erupt. Before the power even got close to him, he already felt like he was suffocating. How's this possible? The disdain in the eyes of the 9-tribulation bodiless celestial from Heavenly Wave Mansion was replaced by fear and panic. At the same time, he took out a 7-foot-long spear and thrust it forward with a swoosh. A celestial supreme treasure? With just a glance, Duan Lingtian recognized the 7-foot-long spear in the hands of the 9-tribulation bodiless celestial from Heavenly Wave Mansion. However, he did not care much about it. Submission of all soldiers. With just a thought, Duan Lingtian sent out a mysterious aura from the sword formation that was charging toward the 9-tribulation bodiless celestial from Heavenly Wave Mansion and snatched the celestial supreme treasure from the 9-tribulation bodiless celestial from Heavenly Wave Mansion. What's going on? The 9-tribulation bodiless celestial from Heavenly Wave Mansion was shocked when he was injured and his celestial supreme treasure was snatched away. He did not expect this. His celestial supreme treasure would be snatched away so easily. Who on earth was this purple-clad young man? What kind of skill did he use? Bang, 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 bang. A 9-tribulation bodiless celestial was, after all, a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial. He quickly recovered from the shock of losing his celestial supreme treasure. He opened his hands and a 7-foot-long spear formed by his strength appeared. It continued to pierce the void and meet the sword formation. Whether it was Duan Ling Tian's sword formation or the 7-foot-long spear in the hands of the Heavenly Wave Mansion's 9 tribulation bodiless celestial, they left terrifying cracks in the void when they moved. It was as though the cracks in the void were serpents. However, compared to the void cracks created by the 7-foot-long spear in the hands of the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from Heavenly Wave Mansion, the void cracks created by Duan Ling Tian's sword formation were narrower and more ferocious. In fact, they were twice as long as the void cracks created by the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from Heavenly Wave Mansion. Swish, 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 swish. In the blink of an eye, Duan Ling Tian's sword formation had met the 7-foot-long spear in the hands of the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from Heavenly Wave Mansion. Without any pause, Duan Ling Tian's sword formation defeated the attack of the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from Heavenly Wave Mansion with just one strike. The sword formation enveloped the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from Heavenly Wave Mansion and drowned him like a flood. No. Before he died, the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from Heavenly Wave Mansion could only let out a mournful cry. Boom, 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 boom. At the same time, the aftershock of the battle between Duan Ling Tian and the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from Heavenly Wave Mansion began to wreak havoc in the inner mansion of Heavenly Wave Mansion. In the blink of an eye, half of the inner mansion of Heavenly Wave Mansion had been turned upside down. In just a blink of an eye, half of the inner mansion of Heavenly Wave Mansion had been turned into ruins. Not only that, some of the Heavenly Wave Mansion's disciples with a weaker cultivation base were injured and sent flying. Even some of the stronger cultivators were retreating far away as if they were avoiding the god of pestilence. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. When the aftershock of the battle dissipated, only the sound of wind whistling could be heard. Everyone present finally saw the situation in front of them. Not far away, a purple figure stood there. He was like a god, invincible. However, the old ancestor of Heavenly Wave Mansion was nowhere to be seen. Even his aura was gone. Old ancestor. Yang Qingjian, the mansion master of Heavenly Wave Mansion, cried out in grief. Surprisingly, he was holding a shattered soul orb in his hand. Old ancestor. He's dead. Another 8 tribulation individual celestial from Heavenly Wave Prefecture also cried out in grief. At the same time, he informed the others of Heavenly Wave Prefecture. Chapter 2550. The old ancestor is dead? This isn't a dream, right? No, it's not a dream. It's real. It's real. Heavens. The old ancestor was a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial, but he was killed by the purple-clad young man in just a blink of an eye? When the group of people from Skywave Prefecture came back to their senses, they were also shocked out of their wits. They felt like they were in a dream. The old ancestor of Heavenly Wave Mansion was a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial. A 9 tribulation bodiless celestial was one of the strongest beings in the mundane realm. However, in just a blink of an eye, their old ancestor, a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial, had died. Is he even human? How could a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial kill our old ancestor so easily? Is he really a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial? More and more people from Heavenly Wave Mansion shifted their attention to Duan Ling Tian. Their eyes were filled with shock. Naturally, most of them were filled with disbelief. Everything that had just happened was inconceivable to them. If their Supreme Elder, an 8 tribulation bodiless celestial from Heavenly Wave Mansion, did not say anything, they would not have believed that their old ancestor, a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial, had died just like that. In fact, before this, in their eyes, the old ancestor of Heavenly Wave Mansion was like a god to them. The ancestor of Heavenly Wave Prefecture was a godlike existence, the guardian of Heavenly Wave Prefecture. They had never thought that someone could kill the ancestor of their Skywave Prefecture. Whoosh. The people from Heavenly Wave Mansion looked at Duan Ling Tian fearfully. Meanwhile, Tang Xiaoxiao, who was standing next to Duan Ling Tian, knelt in the direction of the Thousand Opportunities Galaxy where Tang sect was located. Old ancestor, did you see that? The old man who killed you is dead. You should be able to rest in peace now, Tang Xiaoxiao muttered to herself. Tang Xiaoxiao muttered to herself. Unknowingly, her beautiful cheeks were once again stained with tears. The dead can't be brought back to life. My condolences. Duan Ling Tian sighed and consoled her. All right. Tang Xiaoxiao nodded and stood up. Let's go. After standing up, Tang Xiaoxiao greeted Duan Ling Tian and planned to leave with Duan Ling Tian. Hearing Tang Xiaoxiao's words, Duan Ling Tian was a little surprised. He couldn't help glancing at the people from Skywave Prefecture. As for the people from Skywave Prefecture, All of them turned pale when they saw Duan Lingtian's gaze, as if they were facing a formidable enemy. This purple-clad young man could even kill a 9 tribulation scattered celestial ancestor of the Skywave Prefecture. Wouldn't killing them be as easy as cutting chives? Even Yang Qingjian, the mansion master of Heavenly Wave Mansion, and the Supreme Elder, an 8 tribulation bodiless celestial, looked at Duan Lingtian warily. They were afraid Duan Lingtian would attack them. They had already witnessed Duan Lingtian's strength. Killing a 9 tribulation loose immortal was like killing a chicken. It would be as easy as stepping on a group of ants for him to kill them. Since the culprit is dead, we'll let them go as long as they don't stop us from leaving, Tang Xiaoxiao said. She was not a person who would kill indiscriminately. Now that she saw the people from the Heavenly Wave Mansion looking at Duan Lingtian in a panic, she was even less interested in attacking them. All right. Duan Lingtian nodded. He respected Tang Xiaoxiao's decision. However, even if Duan Lingtian did not plan to eliminate the root of the problem, he did not want to bring disaster to the Tang sect because of his actions today. After all, Tang sect only had one 8 tribulation bodiless celestial while Skywave Prefecture had two 8 tribulation bodiless celestials. Even if it was difficult for Skywave Prefecture to annihilate Tang sect, they would still bring trouble to Tang sect. If the Heavenly Wave Mansion dares to harbor ill intentions toward the Tang sect again, I, Duan Lingtian, will definitely return to the Heavenly Wave Mansion and annihilate all of you. Duan Lingtian threatened Yang Qingjian as he looked at Yang Qingjian, the mansion master of Skywave Prefecture. Although Yang Qingjian felt humiliated by Duan Lingtian's threat, he gritted his teeth and nodded obediently. The situation was not in his favor. The purple-clad young man was able to kill a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial. How could he destroy Skywave Prefecture? Based on Duan Lingtian's words, it was clear he did not intend to cause trouble for Skywave Prefecture. If that was the case, why would he not agree to it? As for the people from Skywave Prefecture, they did not dare to make a sound. In fact, they sighed in relief when they heard Duan Lingtian's words. They knew Duan Lingtian did not intend to kill them. Let's go. When Duan Lingtian saw Yang Qingjian, the mansion master of Skywave Prefecture, nodding obediently, he turned to look at Tang Xiaoxiao and said, "Let's go." Then both of them left the Skywave Prefecture's estate. It was not until Duan Lingtian and Tang Xiaoxiao's silhouettes disappeared that the people from Skywave Prefecture finally caught their breaths. Mansion Master, who's that person? He managed to snatch our ancestor's celestial supreme treasure and killed our ancestor in just a blink of an eye. The Supreme Elder of Skywave Prefecture, an 8 tribulation bodiless celestial, looked at Yang Qingjian warily. Naturally, the Supreme Elder of Skywave Prefecture was wary of Duan Lingtian. I don't know. Yang Qingjian shook his head. His eyes were red as he said in a deep voice, according to him, his name is Duan Lingtian. I've never heard of such a person in Yanhuang realm before. As the ancestor said, even the strongest 9 tribulation bodiless celestial in Yanhuang realm, the strongest person in Yanhuang realm, the Gongsun clan, might not be able to kill him. However, Duan Lingtian managed to kill him. As he spoke, Yang Qingjian's voice began to tremble slightly. The strength of the purple-clad young man, Duan Lingtian, terrified him. He did not even dare to think about revenge. Duan Lingtian, Duan Lingtian. The Supreme Elder of Skywave Prefecture muttered under his breath. Upon hearing Yang Qingjian's words, the Supreme Elder of the Heavenly Wave Mansion, an 8th tribulation individual celestial, muttered to himself. Then he glanced at the people present and asked, "Have any of you heard of this name? Has anyone heard of such a person in Yanhuang realm?" The people from Skywave Prefecture shook their heads immediately. After all, the people from Skywave Prefecture who had entered the Beyond Heaven secret zone had yet to return. Otherwise, they would have connected the Duan Lingtian who had just killed their Supreme Elder with the Duan Lingtian who was famous in the Beyond Heaven secret zone. After all, both Duan Lingtian were sword cultivators and their techniques were the same. Now, all of you must swear on the lightning penalty oath that you won't tell anyone about what happened today. At the same time, Yang Qingjian, the mansion master of Heavenly Wave Mansion, swept his gaze across the group of people from Heavenly Wave Mansion and said in a deep voice, "The lightning penalty oath states that whoever dares to spread word of what happened today will be killed by the lightning penalty oath." Yang Qingjian's tone was resolute and decisive, leaving no room for negotiation. He did this because he didn't want the news of the ancestor's death to spread out. After all, the Skywave Prefecture's current status was due to their old ancestor, a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial. If news of this spread, it would not affect the Skywave Prefecture in the short term. However, in the long run, they would fall to the level of a first-rate force like the Tang sect. Although the Tang sect could barely be considered to be in the first echelon in Yanhuang realm, it was at the bottom of the first echelon of all the forces in the first echelon. Boom, 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 boom. On this day, the inner mansion of Skywave Prefecture was bustling with noise and excitement because of the continuous thunder roaring from the horizon. It lasted for a full 15 minutes before it gradually died down. However, no matter how Yang Qingjian thought about it, he would never have guessed that before he asked everyone present to swear on the lightning penalty oath that they would not tell anyone about what had happened today, several people had already secretly spread the news through communication jade slips. It could be said that there were still a lot of fish that had escaped the net, who were not present at the scene. By the time Yang Qingjian received the news, half a month had already passed. It was already too late. The old ancestor of Skywave Prefecture, a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial, was killed by a purple-clad young man in front of a group of people, including Yang Qingjian, the mansion master of Skywave Prefecture. The purple-clad young man called himself Duan Ling Tian. It's said that Duan Ling Tian is a helper hired by the Tang sect. He's with Tang Xiao Xiao, the strongest person among the younger generation in the Tang sect. Perhaps he's even stronger than the person from the Gongsun family. The person from the Gongsun clan is widely acknowledged as the strongest 9-tribulation bodiless celestial in Yanhuang realm. However, even he might not be able to kill a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial, let alone kill a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial in just a blink of an eye. It's said that Duan Ling Tian has a very strange technique. The sword formation he casts can even snatch celestial supreme treasures from other people. I've heard about it as well. It's because of this technique that he was able to kill the 9-tribulation bodiless celestial from Skywave Prefecture. The rumor of Duan Ling Tian killing a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial from Skywave Prefecture spread like wildfire in the Heavenly Wave Galaxy before it spread to the other galaxies as well. When the news reached the Thousand Opportunities Galaxy where Tang sect was located, Tang Chong, the sect leader of Tang sect, was shocked. That Duan Ling Tian actually killed that old man from the Heavenly Wave Mansion? Even Tang Chong, the sect leader of Tang sect who had seen many storms in his life, could not help but blurt out in shock. He did not expect Duan Ling Tian to be so strong. He did not expect the purple-clad young man to be so strong. Xiao Xiao, you've made an amazing friend. Chapter 2551. Duan Ling Tian was unaware that half a month after he left the Heavenly Wave Mansion's Heavenly Wave Galaxy, his name had spread to the galaxies around the Heavenly Wave Galaxy. In fact, the news was still spreading and spreading out, and all of this was because what he had done was too shocking. In the history of Yanhuang realm, there were many 9-tribulation bodiless celestials who died before they ascended to the Devata realms. However, most of them were killed by the Heavenly Tribulation lightning while they were undergoing their Heavenly Tribulation. Very few 9-tribulation bodiless celestials were killed by others. Even if there were, the ones who killed them were celestials who had returned to the mundane realms from the Devata realms. Such cases were rare in the history of Yanhuang realm. This was because celestials could not return to the mundane realms. Those who could return to the mundane realms were unwilling to do so because they did not want to be tainted by the mundane karma of the mundane realms. For this reason, it was rare for a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial to be killed in the mundane realms. For this reason, news of Duan Ling Tian killing the old ancestor of the Heavenly Wave Mansion who was a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial spread like wildfire from mouth to mouth. It was out of control. Simply because everyone felt that this was a rare thing, a shocking and inconceivable thing. Duan Ling Tian? Sword formation. Snatching someone's celestial supreme treasure? Some people from Yanhuang realm who had just returned from the Beyond Heaven secret zone found out about the young man who had killed the 9-tribulation bodiless celestial from the Heavenly Wave Mansion familiar. When they inquired further and found out that the young man was wearing purple clothes, had sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes, and was very handsome, they confirmed it. Duan Ling Tian was the one who had killed an 8-tribulation bodiless celestial who possessed a celestial supreme treasure outside the treasure vault of a great overarching golden celestial in the Beyond Heaven secret zone. It's him. I can't believe it's him. He actually came to Yanhuang realm? Are you sure it's not the woman next to him? Did he kill the 9-tribulation bodiless celestial himself? I think he did it himself. Oh my god. I thought only the woman next to him could kill a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial. However, it seems like even he can easily kill a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial. It said that the 9-tribulation bodiless celestial from the Heavenly Wave Mansion was killed by him. I heard that too. It is said that he snatched the celestial supreme treasure of the heavenly wave prefecture's 9 tribulation scattered celestial and killed him. Even if he's only an eminent celestial and his strength is only comparable to a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial, those 9 tribulation bodiless celestials who can't use their celestial supreme treasures are no match for him. After confirming that the person who killed the old ancestor of the heavenly wave mansion was Duanling Tian from the Beyond Heaven secret zone, the people who had just come out of the Beyond Heaven secret zone could not help but feel shocked. Meanwhile, more and more people in Yanhuang realm learned about Duanling Tian's background. Duanling Tian was not from Yanhuang realm. Instead, he came from another mundane realm, the Saint Province realm. Moreover, Duanling Tian was not a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial, let alone a celestial. He was only an eminent celestial. Moreover, the woman next to Duanling Tian was suspected to be his wife. Her strength was comparable to a celestial, and she could easily kill 2 9 tribulation bodiless celestials without using any celestial supreme treasures. When the news about Duanling Tian spread in Yanhuang realm, the cultivators in Yanhuang realm were shocked. Heavens! How can there be such a monster in this world? A person from a small mundane realm is capable of displaying such terrifying strength with just the cultivation base of an eminent celestial. In the history of Yanhuang realm, there hasn't been such a heaven-defying eminent celestial before, right? I can't believe he's only an eminent celestial. Have you heard? There's a woman next to him. She easily killed 2 9 tribulation bodiless celestials in the Beyond Heaven secret zone. He's only an eminent celestial, yet he possesses such terrifying strength. It seems like it has something to do with the woman beside him. I remember the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from the heavenly wave mansion has cultivated the soul congregation embodiment, right? Even if Duanling Tian's strength is comparable to a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial, he's only an eminent celestial. If Duanling Tian uses his soul attack, he should be able to kill Duanling Tian. Similar discussions continued to spread in various galaxies in Yanhuang realm. It did not take long for the news to spread to the galaxy ruled by the Celestial Masters sect. Duanling Tian killed a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from the heavenly wave mansion? Jianghu, one of Duanling Tian's friends in the Beyond Heaven secret zone, was shocked when he heard about this. Jianghu, it's your fortune to know him. The person who brought the news to Jianghu was Shi Zhong, the right guardian of the Celestial Masters sect. His eyes were filled with envy as he looked at Jianghu. Although he had witnessed Duanling Tian killing Zhang Chuhe, the left guardian of Dharma in the Celestial Masters sect, he had thought Duanling Tian's strength was only comparable to a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial. He did not expect Duanling Tian would be able to kill a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial. Moreover, it was said that Duanling Tian had killed the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from the heavenly wave mansion in just a blink of an eye. Even if the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from the heavenly wave mansion is not as strong as the old ancestor of the Celestial Masters sect, he shouldn't be much weaker, right? Shi Zhong thought to himself as he shuddered in fear. It is indeed my good fortune. Upon hearing Shi Zhong's words, Jianghu nodded his head in agreement. He felt that he was extremely lucky to be able to befriend someone like Duanling Tian. He believed, now that Duanling Tian's reputation had spread, even the great ancestor of the Celestial Master sect would pay special attention to Jianghu, and all of this was because he was a friend of the Duanling Tian, and someone that the Duanling Tian had promised to protect. When he was separated from Duanling Tian, the Duanling Tian had expressed his stance in front of the right protector. Not long after, reality proved that Jianghu was right. Not only did Duanling Tian attract the attention of the old ancestor of the Celestial Masters sect, but the Celestial Masters sect even gave him all the divine abilities and celestial methods in the Devata realms. Naturally, this was all in the future. However, it's just as they said. The 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from the heavenly wave mansion has cultivated the soul congregation embodiment technique. He's a bodiless celestial who can cast soul attacks as he pleases. As long as he uses soul attacks, Duanling Tian, who's only an eminent celestial, won't be able to withstand it, right? Shi Zhong muttered to himself. Perhaps he doesn't know Duanling Tian is an eminent celestial? Jianghu speculated. Jianghu was right. In the heavenly wave galaxy. In the heavenly wave mansion's estate, Yang Qingjian, the mansion master of heavenly wave mansion, had also received news about Duanling Tian. What? He's only an eminent celestial? When Yang Qingjian found out Duanling Tian was only an eminent celestial, he was so angry that he nearly fainted. If he knew Duanling Tian was only an eminent celestial, the old ancestor of the Heavenly Wave Mansion could have easily killed Duanling Tian with a soul attack. After all, the old ancestor of the Heavenly Wave Mansion was a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial who had cultivated the soul congregation embodiment technique. If he knew Duanling Tian was only an eminent celestial, he would have killed Duanling Tian with a soul attack. Who would have thought Duanling Tian is only an eminent celestial at that time? The 9-tribulation bodiless celestial supreme elder of Heavenly Wave Mansion said with a wry smile on his face. At this moment, let alone Yang Qingjian, the mansion master of Heavenly Wave Mansion, even the supreme elder of Heavenly Wave Mansion felt wronged. When the news spread throughout Skywave Prefecture, everyone in the prefecture felt aggrieved. Duanling Tian is only an eminent celestial? The old ancestor died unjustly. He died unjustly. The Heavenly Wave Mansion was filled with mourning. Previously, they had thought Duanling Tian was a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial who had mastered a mysterious technique that allowed him to snatch celestial supreme treasures away from the old ancestor of the Heavenly Wave Mansion. Although they were angry and helpless, they could only accept it. After all, Duanling Tian was indeed stronger than the old ancestor of Heavenly Wave Mansion. However, now that they knew Duanling Tian was only an eminent celestial, they were so angry that they almost vomited blood. They were unwilling to accept this. None of them were willing to accept this. While the Heavenly Wave Mansion was in an uproar, everyone felt wronged. Duanling Tian had returned to the Beyond Heaven Secret Zone with Tang Xiaoxiao. Through the Beyond Heaven Secret Zone, they had returned to his hometown, the Saint Province Realm. After returning to the Saint Province Realm, Duanling Tian first inquired about the current situation in the Saint Province Realm. He heaved a sigh of relief when he found out the Devil clans did not cause any trouble while he was away. It's time for the Devil clans to return to the land of exile. Duanling Tian's eyes were cold as he hovered in the air above Sin City in the central province of the upper province of the Dao Martial Saint Land. At the same time, he made a timely announcement to the city of Sin, as well as all the humans and demons around the city of Sin. I, Duanling Tian, will battle the strongest devil clans in a month's time 1,000 miles north of Sin City. Chapter 2552. Duanling Tian's voice was not loud, but it seemed to contain some sort of magical power. In the blink of an eye, the news had spread to the city of Sin and into the ears of the humans and demons around the city of Sin. It was like thunder in their ears. After a brief moment of silence, the humans who heard Duanling Tian's voice broke out in an uproar. Duanling Tian is going to make a move. He's finally going to make a move. There's no difference between him making a move and his wife making a move. After Duanling Tian's wife killed the Patriarch of the Dragons, who was a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial, I've been waiting for them to make a move to expel the devils from the land of exile. I didn't expect them to finally make a move. The Patriarch of the Dragons was a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial, but he didn't manage to expel the devils. There must be a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial in the devil clans. Of course. I've heard from some devils that there are 9-tribulation bodiless celestials in the devil clans. What kind of era are we in? Not only are there monsters like Duanling Tian and his wife, but there are also 9-tribulation bodiless celestials in the dragons and devils. Duanling Tian wants to fight the strongest devil in the devil clans? In my opinion, he's helping his wife arrange this battle. That's most likely the case. I have a friend who's a member of the dragons. He said Duanling Tian isn't strong enough to defeat the Patriarch of the Dragons. It's only because of his wife that the Patriarch of the Dragons died. When the humans heard Duanling Tian's voice, they began to discuss among themselves. The battle between Duanling Tian and the 9-tribulation bodiless celestial from the devil clans was between his wife and the 9-tribulation bodiless celestial from the devil clans. And the reason why they thought so was naturally because of the strength that Duanling Tian's wife displayed when she killed the dragon's patriarch, which gave them a preconceived notion. What they didn't know was that Duanling Tian's wife had already left the Saint Province realm. She wouldn't be back for at least 1,000 years. Oh my god. Is that Duanling Tian? When the demons heard Duanling Tian's voice, their expressions changed. They had all heard of the strength of Duanling Tian's wife. They knew that she could instantly kill the 9-tribulation bodiless celestial dragons clan leader. The strongest expert of the devil clan was only a 9th tribulation scattered immortal like the leader of the dragons. Duanling Tian's wife, is she finally going to make a move? I've always been worried about the arrival of this day, but has this day finally arrived? When news of Duanling Tian's wife killing the leader of the Dragon's clan leader spread, it caused a huge commotion in the Saint Province realm. Initially, the devil clans did not believe it. However, after some verification they had no choice but to believe it. At that time all the devil clans knew that there was a ninth tribulation bodiless celestial in the Saint Province realm. In the Saint Province realm, there was someone who was stronger than a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial. Moreover, she was the wife of a famous person in the Saint Province realm, Duanling Tian. She had killed the patriarch of the dragon clan who was a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial with ease. If Duanling Tian's wife attacks us, how are we going to defend ourselves? Even the strongest devil in the devil clans wouldn't be a match for Duanling Tian's wife, right? At that time the devil clans fell into a state of panic. There were even some cowardly demons who returned to their hometown, the Banished Realm, which was also known as the Land of Exile by the people in the Sanctuary Realm. Of course, most of the devil race still had hopes of getting lucky and stayed behind. Compared to the Land of Exile, the Saint Province Realm was like heaven to them. Not only was the heaven and earth spirit energy abundant, but it was also rich in cultivation resources. They were reluctant to leave. Most importantly, the strongest devil clans in the Saint Province Realm did not say anything. For this reason, the devil clans could only stay in the Saint Province Realm in fear. At this point, they had completely forgotten about Duanling Tian and Duanling Tian's wife. However, today, Duanling Tian had suddenly appeared and announced that he would challenge the strongest powerhouse in the devil clans to a duel in a month's time. This made them feel a sense of crisis. They felt the strongest devil in the Saint Province Realm was going to die. After all, Duanling Tian's wife was someone who could kill the patriarch of the dragons in just a second. Moreover, the patriarch of the dragons was a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial. Half a month later, in the northern region, a glacier that had not melted for 10,000 years was originally calm. However, all of a sudden, the tranquility of the glacier was broken. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The sound of wind whistling in the air broke the calm on the glacier. It was a few swift figures, whizzing out from different directions at an extremely fast speed. Wherever they passed, a hideous and terrifying void crack appeared in the void. These figures were like space rippers. As long as they passed through the void, nothing would remain intact. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A moment later, a total of 7 figures appeared in the sky above a corner of the glacier. They paused in the same space as if they had discussed this beforehand. Gentlemen, all of you are here for the battle between Duanling Tian and Master Wuxia, right? One of the middle-aged men dressed in green asked coldly as he looked at the other 6 people. It was not that he was trying to look cold, but he had always been like this. Usually, he would have a stern expression on his face that made him seem unapproachable. Yes. That's right. That's the reason we're here. The other 6 people nodded in agreement when they heard the middle-aged man's words. Bang. Not long after the 7 of them appeared in the sky above the glacier, a loud noise rang from the glacier beneath their feet. Immediately after, the glacier beneath their feet seemed to have suffered a heavy blow from the inside, and a series of hideous and terrifying cracks appeared on it. In the end, the cracks intertwined like a spider web on the glacier. Boom. When the spider web had expanded to a certain extent, another loud noise rang in the air. This time, the glacier where the spider web appeared was directly shattered by an extremely powerful force, turning into ice shards and powder that filled the sky. Then, it fell down and fell into the ice water that had appeared in the gap on the glacier. The ice shards continued to fall into the icy water, splashing everywhere. All of you, why are you looking for me? An indifferent voice rang out. It seemed to have come from all directions, but no one knew where it had come from. His voice wasn't loud, but when it reached the ears of the 7 people, it caused their bodies to tremble. Master Wuxia. Master Wuxia. After the 7 people's bodies trembled, they recovered at the first moment. They respectfully bowed to the old man who seemed to appear out of thin air not far away. If someone from the devil clans who knew the 7 of them were here, they would be shocked to see the 7 of them. This was because the 7 of them were considered overlords in the devil clans. All of them were 8 tribulation bodiless celestials. The 7 tribulation bodiless celestials from the devil clans bowed respectfully at the old man. The old man had a medium build and an ordinary appearance. He was the kind of person who would not stand out in a crowd. However, since the 7 tribulation bodiless celestials from the devil clans were so respectful to him, it was obvious who he was. He was none other than the only 9 tribulation bodiless celestial in the devil clans. Duanling Tian? He's going to challenge me in 2 weeks? After learning about Duanling Tian's challenge from the 7 tribulation bodiless celestial venerables from the devil clans, the expression on the old man's face darkened immediately. Did he say that it was him or his wife who wanted to challenge me? The old man asked in a deep voice as he looked at the 7 people in front of him. In his opinion, Master Wu Ji was not an exception. Duan Ling Tian challenging him to a battle and Duan Ling Tian's wife challenging him to a battle were 2 completely different concepts. He had investigated the incident that happened in the Dragon Clan. With Duan Ling Tian's strength, the most he could do was fight the patriarch of the Dragon Clan to a draw. However, Duan Ling Tian's wife had killed the patriarch of the Dragon Clan with just a wave of her hand. If his opponent was Duan Ling Tian, he was confident he could fight the patriarch of the Dragon Clan to a draw since his strength was not inferior to the patriarch of the Dragon Clan. However, if his opponent was Duan Ling Tian's wife, he was not confident he could survive. After all, the patriarch of the Dragon Clan who was as strong as him had been killed in just a blink of an eye. He said he wants to challenge you, Master Wu Ji. However, he didn't say he won't let his wife interfere. One of the 8 tribulation bodiless celestials said. The other 8 tribulation bodiless celestials nodded in agreement. What do all of you think about this? The old man asked as he looked at the 8 tribulation bodiless celestials. Although he was the only 9 tribulation bodiless celestial in the devil clans and the strongest person in the devil clans, he usually did not meddle in the affairs of the devil clans. He only focused on his closed-door cultivation as he waited for the 10th bodiless celestial tribulation. He would only make a move when the devil clans required his help. In his opinion, there was no difference between staying in the Saint Province realm and the exiled realm. We can't say for sure. It's all up to you, Master Wu Ji. After all, if Duan Ling Tian's wife is here and wants to attack you, Master Limitless, you'll be in a very dangerous situation. An 8 tribulation bodiless celestial from the devil clans said. That's right. Another 8 tribulation bodiless celestial agreed. If you accept the challenge, your life will be in danger. I don't know what all of you think, but I don't want you to take the risk. Chapter 2553. Time flew by like a white steed flitting by a crack. In just a blink of an eye, another half a month had passed. Under the anticipation of all the humans and saint beasts in the upper province of the Dao Martial Saint Land, the day that Duan Ling Tian had announced a month ago finally arrived. Early in the morning, a group of humans and devils gathered 1,000 miles north of Sin City in the central province of the Dao Martial Saint Land. Generally speaking, wherever a large number of humans and demons gathered, a bloody battle would break out. However, on this day the humans and demons seemed to have come to an agreement beforehand. They stood on opposite sides of each other in peace. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Along with the sound of wind whistling, more humans and demons arrived. Moreover, after these humans and demons arrived, they all entered their own camps. The human camp and the devil clan stood on opposite sides of each other. It was as though they were facing off against each other. Time continued to pass by. When it was almost noon, the number of people had dwindled. At this moment, the number of humans and devils present had reached a terrifying number. From afar, it was as though the number of people was endless. Why isn't he here yet? What's the rush? Duan Ling Tian only said he's going to fight the strongest devil clans today, but he didn't say when he's going to come. It's only been half a day. Let's wait patiently. That's right. Are you worried that Duan Ling Tian won't come? Don't forget that he's the one who initiated the battle today. I heard that Duan Ling Tian's strength is comparable to a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial. Even if he can't defeat the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from the devil clans, it's still impossible for the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial to defeat him. That's right. With Duan Ling Tian's strength, the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from the devil clans would at most come to a draw with Duan Ling Tian. In the human camp, a group of people whispered among themselves as they discussed among themselves. The topic of their discussion was naturally one of the main characters today, Duan Ling Tian. He was also a powerhouse among the humans. The news of Duan Ling Tian coming to a draw with the clan leader of the dragons in the upper province of the Dao Martial Saint Land had long spread throughout the upper province of the Dao Martial Saint Land. For this reason, these humans knew Duan Ling Tian's strength was comparable to an eminent celestial. So what if Duan Ling Tian and that 9th tribulation loose immortal of the devil clan are evenly matched? Don't forget that his wife is someone who can kill a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial. Very quickly, someone snorted and said. His words immediately resonated strongly with the group of humans. That's right. Duan Ling Tian's wife was someone who could kill a 9th tribulation loose immortal in a second. As long as she takes action today, the strongest expert of the devil clan, even if he is a 9th tribulation loose immortal, will definitely die. I'm just worried that the 9th tribulation bodiless celestial from the devil clan won't dare to show up. After all, he must have heard of Duan Lingtian's wife's strength. If that's the case, not only will the Devil Clan be humiliated today, but they'll also be facing a calamity. After all, Duan Lingtian has said a month ago that if the strongest expert of the Devil Clan doesn't show up, he'll annihilate all the devils. How domineering! How domineering! The group of humans present on the scene could not help but feel proud when they talked about this. After all, Duan Lingtian was a powerhouse among the humans. He was the pride of the humans. At the same time, he was also the hope of the humans to defeat the Devil Clans and drive them back to the land of exile. However, I really didn't expect that Duan Lingtian, who gradually rose to fame in the Zoroastrianism, would have such accomplishments today. That's right. At that time, I thought it was already shocking for someone who came from the lower province to the upper province to make such a name for himself. But now it seems like we've all underestimated him. Who would have thought that a young man from the lower province would have such incredible accomplishments when he's not even 100 years old? No matter what, it's our fortune to have him. Indeed. At the same time, many people could not help but exclaim when they recalled Duan Lingtian's past. After all, it could be said that they had witnessed Duan Lingtian's growth step by step until today. This time, as long as Duan Lingtian manages to drive the Devil Clans back to the land of exile, his name will go down in history and he'll become a legend like Sword Saint Feng Qingyang. No? If he manages to drive the Devil Clans back to the land of exile, he'll become a legend even more legendary than Sword Saint Feng Qingyang. After all, not only is his strength on par with Feng Qingyang, but he has also made great contributions to the human race. That's right. His contributions to the human race are incomparable to Feng Qingyang. At this moment, many people could already see the scene of Duan Lingtian and his wife driving the Devil Clans back to the land of exile. Unlike the lively atmosphere in the human race, the Devil Clans were deathly silent. All the devils had gloomy expressions on their faces. Do you think the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from the Devil Clans will really come? A devil with a minotaur head and a human body asked the people around him. It's hard to say. If I were him, I don't think I'd come. After all, he might be able to deal with Duan Lingtian, but Duan Lingtian's wife can easily kill him. It's normal for him not to come since he knows he's going to die. However, I still hope he'll come. After all, if he doesn't come today, Duan Lingtian will definitely kill us. I hope he'll come as well. There are 2 reasons why I'm still here and didn't return to the land of exile. Firstly, I hope he'll come. Secondly, I don't think Duan Lingtian will let me go even if I return to the land of exile. That's right. With Duan Lingtian and his wife's strength, if they want to kill us, it doesn't matter if we stay in the Saint Province realm or return to the land of exile. Most of the devils present on the scene did not think the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from the Devil Clans would come to the land of exile with Duan Lingtian. However, they could not help but look forward to seeing the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial in the land of exile. They hoped the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from the Devil Clans would come and protect them. Now, the majority of the devil race were looking forward to the arrival of the strongest expert of the devil race. At the same time, their hearts were filled with apprehension. They were deeply afraid that the strongest expert of the devil race would not come. If the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial did not come, their deaths would be certain. However, there were a small number of demons who were very calm. Almost all of these devils belonged to the human devil clan. He should be here soon, right? Huang Qiling, a disciple of Wandering Saint Palace and a friend of Duan Lingtian from the human devil clan, was present as well. Now, his eyes were filled with fervor and anticipation. It's a pity Sister Wenjing isn't coming. Huang Qiling could not help but sigh when he thought about the woman who was unwilling to come. Naturally, he knew why the woman was unwilling to come. After all, it was unlikely that Duan Lingtian would be alone in his battle with the Devil Clan's strongest powerhouse. His wife would most likely be with him as well. Master, is he finally going to appear? Yuan Haochen, the palace master of Wandering Saint Palace, was also present. His eyes were filled with anticipation as well. He was eager to see his master, Duan Lingtian. Many people from the human devil clan's 3 palaces and 6 halls were also present. He's here. All of a sudden, someone exclaimed, which suppressed the hubbub of humans and demons at present. Everyone's heart skipped a beat when they heard the voice. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. In the next moment, waves of swift wind whistling sounds were also transmitted from afar. It was clearly transmitted into their ears, causing them to involuntarily look towards the source of the sound. The sound came from the north. In the north, a total of 8 figures were approaching at an insane speed. Of course, with their speed, only a few powerful bodiless celestials could vaguely catch sight of them. Master Wuji is here. A 7 Tribulation bodiless celestial from the Devil clan exclaimed in surprise. It's Master Wuji. Another 7 Tribulation bodiless celestial from the Devil clan exclaimed excitedly. Master Wuji? Many devils were confused when they heard the 7 Tribulation bodiless celestials' words. However, after a while, they learned who Wuji was from some of the bodiless celestials. Master Wuji is the strongest 9 Tribulation bodiless celestial in the Devil clans. He's here. Like I said, we demons are indomitable. How could the strongest demon of our race admit defeat so easily? At the same time, the group of demon race cultivators' eyes lit up with excitement. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. A total of 8 figures appeared between the human clan and the demon clan like ghosts, appearing before everyone's eyes. These 8 people were led by an old man. The old man had a medium build and an ordinary appearance. He was the kind of person who would not stand out in a crowd. However, at this moment, this ordinary-looking old man had once again become the focus of everyone's attention. This old man is the strongest person in the Devil clans? The 9 Tribulation bodiless celestial from the Devil clans? Although the humans present on the scene were confident in Duan Lingtian and his wife, they could not help but gasp when they saw the 9 Tribulation bodiless celestial from the Devil clans. Their eyes were filled with dread as they looked at the old man. After all, Duan Lingtian had not arrived yet. If this old man were to suddenly go crazy and attack them, all of them would definitely die without a burial ground. Why isn't Duan Lingtian here yet? I hope this 9 Tribulation bodiless celestial from the Devil clans won't vent his anger on us because of Duan Lingtian's challenge. Duan Lingtian, hurry up and come. Chapter 2554. Master Wuji. Master Wuji. Just as all of the humans present were feeling extremely anxious, the devilish beings present all bowed respectfully toward the elderly man who was the leader of the group of 8. This was the first time most of them had seen the old man. Although it was their first time seeing the old man, they could not help but feel a sense of awe when they learned about his identity. Although the old man was a 9 Tribulation bodiless celestial, it took him a lot of courage to come here today. After all, not only did he have to face Duan Lingtian, but he also had to face Duan Lingtian's wife who was terrifyingly strong. Master Wuji. Master Wuji. When the group of Devil clan members greeted the old man respectfully, it was especially ear-piercing when it reached the ears of the humans present. Moreover, it caused them to become even more anxious. After all, they did not know if the 9 Tribulation bodiless celestial from the Devil clans would choose to fight to the death. He's here. Duan Lingtian is here. Just as the group of humans were getting more and more anxious, someone among the group of humans yelled. The eyes of the humans lit up immediately as they looked left and right in an attempt to find Duan Lingtian. Over there. I see it. It's Duan Lingtian. Soon after, the humans saw 2 figures. In the west, 2 figures were walking side by side in the air. One of them was a purple-clad young man. He was tall and handsome and he was no stranger to them. More than 90% of them had seen the purple-clad young man's portrait before. Duan Lingtian. When the group of humans locked their gazes on the purple-clad young man and confirmed his identity, they could not help but reveal a hint of excitement. She's Duan Lingtian's wife? She must be. There's only a woman by his side. Who else could it be if she's not his wife? Soon after, their eyes fell on the beautiful figure standing next to Duan Lingtian. They thought she was Duan Lingtian's wife who could kill a 9 Tribulation bodiless celestial with just a wave of her hand. However, was the woman by Duan Lingtian's side his wife? The answer was naturally no. The person who had killed a 9 Tribulation bodiless celestial was Duan Lingtian's wife, Kerr. On the other hand, Kerr was no longer in the Saint Province realm, the Mundane realm or even the Devata realms. Kerr was currently in the world of Divine Offering and would not be able to leave within the next 1,000 years. I've long heard from the dragons that the Duan Lingtian's wife is a peerless beauty. Now that I've seen her today, she really lives up to her reputation. She is indeed a peerless beauty. I'm afraid only a peerless genius like Duan Lingtian is worthy of such a beauty. At the very least, that's the case in the upper province of the Dao Martial Saint Land. The group of people discussed among themselves as they looked at the woman standing next to Duan Lingtian. Some of them even mistook her for Kerr, Duan Lingtian's wife. Although the woman standing next to Duan Lingtian was peerless and beautiful, she was not his wife, Kerr. Instead, she was Tang Xiao Xiao, a disciple of Tang sect who had returned from Yen Huang realm with Duan Lingtian. Whoosh, whoosh. Duan Lingtian and Tang Xiaoxiao walked side by side. In just a blink of an eye, they arrived near the group of humans and devils. He's the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from the devil clans? Duan Lingtian's eyes instantly landed on the leader of the 8 people hovering in the air between the group of humans and devils. He could vaguely guess the leader's identity. At the same time, Duan Lingtian heard the whispers around him confirming his guess. Whoosh, whoosh. Soon after, Duan Lingtian and Tang Xiaoxiao arrived at the empty space between the group of humans and devils. They stood opposite the 8 people led by the strongest devil from the devil clans. You're Duan Lingtian? The strongest devil from the devil clans, the only 9 tribulation bodiless celestial in the devil clans, had his eyes fixed on Duan Lingtian ever since Duan Lingtian had appeared. Now that Duan Lingtian was close to him, he could not help but ask for confirmation. Yes. Duan Lingtian nodded indifferently in response to the old man's question. A month ago you said you wanted to challenge me to a duel. I wonder if you're going to fight me or ask your wife to do it. The old man asked bluntly. At the same time he glanced at Tang Xiaoxiao who was standing next to Duan Lingtian. Naturally, he only glanced at Tang Xiaoxiao for a moment before he retracted his gaze. The reason he did this was because he was afraid he would anger Duan Lingtian's wife if he glanced at her too much and he would be killed. He knew his own strength. He was not a match for Duan Lingtian's wife at all. Before he came here, he had already discussed this with the 7-8 tribulation bodiless celestials from the devil clans. If Duan Lingtian personally challenged him to a duel, he would accept the challenge and fight with Duan Lingtian even if it was a draw. However, if Duan Lingtian's wife challenged him to a duel, he would immediately admit defeat. Apart from that, he would also promise to lead all the devils out of the Saint Province realm to the exiled realm. This way he would be able to save his life and save the devil clans from a calamity. My wife. Duan Lingtian was taken aback when he heard the old man's words. When the humans and devils heard the old man's words, they turned to look at Duan Lingtian. It was as though they were curious about how Duan Lingtian would respond to the old man. The humans naturally hoped Duan Lingtian would ask his wife to fight. The devils naturally hoped that Duan Lingtian would personally make a move. That doesn't seem to be Brother Lingtian's wife, right? Huang Qiling, a disciple from the Wandering Saint Palace, was stunned when he saw the black-clad woman standing next to Duan Lingtian. This was because he had seen Duan Lingtian's wife before. Duan Lingtian's wife did not look like this. Although this black-clothed woman had a peerless appearance that wasn't much inferior to Duan Lingtian's wife, she was extremely beautiful. She was not Duan Lingtian's wife. What's going on? Huang Qiling was dumbfounded. This. At this moment, Duan Lingtian was not the only one who was dumbfounded. Even Yuan Haochen, the palace master of Wandering Saint Palace, and the other human devils who had seen Duan Lingtian's wife, Ke, were dumbfounded. The black-clad woman standing next to Duan Lingtian was not his wife who had killed the patriarch of the dragons. After all, they had seen Duan Lingtian's wife before. Your wife has the strength to kill a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial with just a wave of her hand. This is no longer a secret in the Saint Province realm. The old man looked at Duan Lingtian and said confidently, if you ask your wife to make a move today, I'll admit defeat. Moreover, I'll take the devils and leave the Saint Province realm with me and return to the realm of exile. If you fight, I'll fight you as well. Even if we end up in a draw, I'll still bring all the members of the devil clans back to the exiled realm. Naturally, I'll only do this for your wife's sake. The old man's words revealed another piece of information. The devil clans can leave the Saint Province realm and return to the exiled realm, but it's only for the sake of Duan Lingtian's wife, not Duan Lingtian. Ha! Duan Lingtian was taken aback when he heard the old man's words. Then he burst out laughing. Why are you laughing? The old man frowned. I'm laughing at you. You've never met my wife and yet, you treat everyone as my wife. Duan Lingtian stopped laughing and said indifferently, this person next to me is my friend, not my wife. My wife has already left the mundane realm. She won't interfere in the matters of the Saint Province realm. Duan Lingtian felt a stab of pain in his heart when he heard this. Ke, would they really have to wait for 1,000 years before they could meet again? What? She's not your wife. Although the old man was a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial, he could not help but lose his composure when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. Tang Xiaoxiao's cultivation base was only that of an eminent celestial. As expected, she's not your wife. At this moment, the old man was certain. Previously, the old man had thought Tang Xiao was Duan Lingtian's wife who could kill a nine-tribulation bodiless celestial, so he did not dare to use his divine consciousness to investigate her. However, now that he heard Duan Lingtian's words, he could not help but extend his divine consciousness to verify Duan Lingtian's words. If your wife is really not in the mundane realm and won't interfere in the matters of the Saint Province realm, I'm afraid you won't be able to defeat me and drive the devil clans out of the Saint Province realm. The old man narrowed his eyes as he looked at Duan Lingtian. He wondered if Duan Lingtian was deliberately deceiving him with his earlier words. Are you so confident that I won't be able to defeat you? Upon hearing the old man's words, Duan Lingtian suddenly smiled brightly. Tang Xiao, who was standing next to Duan Lingtian, could not help but sneer when she heard the old man's words. She mocked the old man for being too arrogant. What? This black-clad woman isn't Duan Lingtian's wife. How's that possible? If she's not his wife, then who is she? If she's not his wife, why would he bring her here? The humans present on the scene had been waiting for Duan Lingtian's wife to kill the nine-tribulation bodiless celestial from the devil clans and drive the devil clans out of the Saint Province realm. However, Duan Lingtian had said, Duan Lingtian, the devil clans are here. Chapter 2555. Moreover, Duan Lingtian said his wife has left the mundane realm and can no longer interfere in the affairs of the Saint Province realm? Many people's faces turned pale when they recalled Duan Lingtian's words. He must be joking. I think he's joking as well. Even if his wife has left the mundane realm and can no longer interfere in the affairs of the Saint Province realm, he shouldn't have said that, right? That's right. After all, he's not strong enough to defeat a nine-tribulation bodiless celestial from the devil clans and drive the devil clans out of the Saint Province realm. After a few moments, the expressions of many people calmed down. They thought Duan Lingtian was joking. Joking? Do you think it's necessary for him to make such a joke? I don't think it's necessary for him to make such a joke. Since he has said so, I'm sure he believes Duan Lingtian as well. Many people from the human devil clan had met Duan Lingtian in the Debussy subterranean, so they believed Duan Lingtian was strong enough to defeat him. Did you just say I'm not qualified for you to use your celestial supreme treasure? The nine-tribulation bodiless celestial from the devil clans asked in a low voice. His expression changed drastically when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. He thought he had misheard Duan Lingtian. What? You're a nine-tribulation bodiless celestial, but you're so old. Are you deaf? Duan Lingtian asked indifferently. Good. Very good. Since you're so arrogant, I'd like to see how you're going to fight me without using your celestial supreme treasure. The old man was infuriated by Duan Lingtian, and his expression changed rapidly. In the end, he could no longer hold it in when he suddenly shouted out. Bang! His body swayed as he stomped his feet in the air, leaving a huge hole in the void. As soon as the huge pit appeared, it was torn apart again, pulling out a hideous and terrifying void crack. Boom, 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 boom. When the old man rushed out, his entire body seemed to have turned into a cannonball as he headed straight for Duan Lingtian. Everywhere it passed, the void would tremble, and the sound of air exploding would rise and fall continuously. Countless cracks in the void would also be torn open, looking particularly ferocious. Just looking at it would make one's scalp go numb. Bang! A moment later, the old man was already not far away from Duan Lingtian. With a shake of his arms, a vast and boundless power seemed to have transformed into a terrifying beast that bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it pounced towards Duan Lingtian. His domineering aura caused people to involuntarily feel fear. That's all you got? Just as the old man attacked with all his might like a ferocious beast pouncing towards Duan Lingtian spoke unhurriedly. His tone was full of mockery. Your strength is only comparable to that of the former leader of the dragons. It seems that I have overestimated you. Duan Lingtian said calmly. Shameless boasting. The old man shouted coldly. His tone was so cold that it made people feel as though they had fallen into an ice cellar. You'll know whether I'm shameless boasting or not soon enough. Duan Lingtian's tone was still as calm as before. However, when he spoke again, he made a move. Whoosh. When he raised his hand, his back was slightly bent into the shape of a bow. Then, he suddenly exerted his strength and his arm shot out like a dragon in the direction where the old man was charging towards. In the next moment, whoosh, 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 whoosh. As Duan Lingtian's arm shot out like a dragon, dazzling white lights shot out from his open palm. They were all condensed sword lights. These sword rays whistled out from Duan Lingtian's palm. In just a blink of an eye, they turned into thousands of sword rays. In the next moment, these thousands of sword rays turned into tens of thousands of sword rays and formed a mysterious sword formation. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. After the sword formation was formed, it shot out without any hesitation, leaving behind more than a dozen afterimages. This was the profundity of the divine ability, the 13 green lotus swords, that Duan Lingtian had cast. Boom. When the afterimages of the sword formation merged with the sword formation shone brightly as an even more powerful aura surged out from it. How's this possible? At this moment, the old man who was charging towards Duan Lingtian could clearly sense the terrifying aura from the sword formation. It was definitely stronger than a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial. Under normal circumstances, only a golden celestial from the Devata realms would be able to unleash such power. Boom. The old man's expression changed drastically as his body swelled up like a balloon before he exploded into a cloud of blood mist. In the midst of the blood mist, one could vaguely see bits and pieces of golden light twinkling. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. At the same time, Duan Lingtian's sword formation easily destroyed the old man's all-out attack that seemed to have transformed into a ferocious beast. Apart from that, it also destroyed the cloud of blood mist that the old man had turned into. Chapter 2556. Although Duan Lingtian did not use his celestial supreme treasure, he was still able to defeat Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian's strength was extremely fast. However, with his current strength, even without using his celestial supreme treasure, his strength was much stronger than a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial. After all, the divine ability, the 13 green lotus swords, that he had mastered, was not an ordinary divine ability from the Devata realms. It was one of the most powerful offensive divine abilities in the Devata realms. After using this ability, his attack power would increase by an entire 3 levels compared to before using this ability. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Without using his celestial sword, Duan Lingtian's sword formation was comparable to the attack of the weakest golden celestial in the Devata realms. However, even the weakest golden celestial in the Devata realms was much stronger than a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial in the mundane realms. No matter how weak a golden celestial was, he was still a golden celestial. A 9 tribulation bodiless celestial strength was only comparable to a peak heavenly celestial in the Devata realms. In the Devata realms, golden celestials were above heavenly celestials. The weakest golden celestial was not comparable to the strongest heavenly celestial. For this reason, apart from Duan Lingtian and his opponent, only the 7-8 tribulation bodiless celestials from the devil clans could clearly see the sword formation that Duan Lingtian had cast. As for the others, they could only hear the sound of sword whistling in the air. How's this possible? He doesn't have a celestial supreme treasure, but he's still so strong? He easily defeated Limitless Master's full-powered attack, and even forced Limitless Master to use the demonic blood escape? Heavens! What kind of monster is Duan Lingtian? I thought he had to use a celestial supreme treasure to fight the Patriarch of the Dragons to a draw? Based on his strength, he should be able to kill a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial even without a celestial supreme treasure, right? He's pretending to be weak all this while? The 7/8 tribulation loose celestials of the devil clan were shocked because they had vaguely seen Duan Lingtian's means. It took them a long time to calm down. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed that the Duan Lingtian had such strength. With the strength that he has displayed so far, even if he is not as strong as his wife, he is not much weaker, right? This Duan Lingtian and his wife. Where did they come from? How could someone from the Debussy subterranean in the sanctuary realm achieve such heaven-defying achievements in less than 100 years? The 7/8 tribulation loose immortals of the devil clan felt it was inconceivable. However, no matter how inconceivable it was, the facts were right in front of them. They had to believe it. I take back what I just said. Your strength is still slightly stronger than that of the Dragon's clan leader. At the very least, if the Patriarch of the Dragon's clan leader was in his place, he would have died from my earlier attack. When the others regained their senses, Duan Lingtian suddenly shifted his gaze to the northeast as though he was talking to the air. As soon as Duan Lingtian finished speaking, the people present on the scene were shocked to see a blood-red light suddenly appeared in the area Duan Lingtian was looking at. After the blood-red light appeared, it began to boil and churn before it turned into a bloody mist. Then it shrunk at lightning speed and reverted to a human figure. Finally, a familiar figure appeared before their eyes. Master Wu Ji? What's Master Wu Ji doing? The people from the Devil clan were stunned when they saw the familiar figure standing in the northeast. At this moment, the person who appeared in the northeast was none other than the strongest 9 tribulation bodiless celestial in the Devil clans. He was the only 9 tribulation bodiless celestial in the Devil clans who had survived Duan Ling Tian's attack. However, the current old man seemed to be much weaker than before. At the very least he seemed to have aged a lot compared to before. Everyone present on the scene could see this. The 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from the Devil clan seems to be injured. Moreover, it seems like he's severely injured. What on earth happened just now? Didn't he attack Duan Ling Tian? How did he run so far away in just a blink of an eye? That's right. Duan Ling Tian, on the other hand, remained motionless on the spot from the beginning until the end. Some of the humans with weaker cultivation bases looked at each other and saw the confusion in each other's eyes. They had no idea what had happened earlier. Although there were no 8 tribulation bodiless celestials among the humans present on the scene, there were a few 7 tribulation bodiless celestials. Although they could not see what had happened as clearly as the 8 tribulation bodiless celestials from the Devil clan, they could still see what had happened earlier. Not only did Duan Ling Tian have the upper hand in the fight with the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from the Devil clan, but he had almost killed his opponent. At the critical moment, his opponent seemed to have used some technique to escape. The technique Master Wu Ji used earlier seems to be the heavenly devil blood escape that no one in the Devil clan has managed to cultivate for tens of thousands of years. At this moment, one of the 7 tribulation bodiless celestials from the Devil clans regained his senses and began to recall what he had seen earlier. He could not help but cry out in surprise when he recalled what had happened earlier. Heavenly devil blood escape. Upon hearing the 7 tribulation bodiless celestial from the Devil clan, the other devils present on the scene were shocked as well. It was not a secret that the Devil clan was skilled in the blood escape technique. Even some demonic cultivators knew how to use the blood escape technique. However, there were different grades of blood escape technique. The heavenly devil blood escape technique was the strongest blood escape technique that the devils in the mundane realms could master. As for the blood escape technique that the devils in the Devata realms mastered, it could only be used in the Devata realms. In the mundane realms, there was no blood escape technique that was comparable to the heavenly devil blood escape technique. The heavenly devil blood escape technique did not have a huge side effect. It would only drain 10% of the user's strength in an instant. Moreover, there would be side effects in the user's body, making it impossible for the user to recover his strength in a short time. Generally speaking, unless one's life is in danger, very few people would use the heavenly devil blood escape technique. Because once I use this blood escape technique, it means that I won't be able to recover my full strength for a period of time. I didn't expect Master Wu Ji to have cultivated the heavenly devil blood escape technique. For him to use the heavenly devil blood escape technique at this moment means he's in danger. Danger? Do you mean Duan Ling Tian almost killed Master Wu Ji earlier? That's very likely. The group of devils was shocked by the old man's ability to cultivate the heavenly devil blood escape technique. At the same time they could vaguely guess what was going on. Heavenly devil blood escape technique? Duan Ling Tian looked at the old man calmly. Interesting. Now, do you still think that I was boasting shamelessly earlier? Duan Ling Tian asked indifferently as he looked at the old man. Upon hearing Duan Ling Tian's words, the old man's face turned pale. His eyes dimmed as he sighed. I didn't expect Duan Ling Tian's wife isn't the only one whose strength is comparable to a golden celestial in the Devata realms. Even Duan Ling Tian's strength is comparable to a golden celestial in the Devata realms. If your attack earlier had been boosted by a celestial supreme treasure, I'm afraid I wouldn't have had the chance to use the heavenly devil blood escape technique. The old man said. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. In the instant that the elderly man's voice trailed off, the expressions of all of the devilish beings present changed drastically. Based on Wu Ji's words and the fact that Wu Ji had used the heavenly devil blood escape technique to escape, it seemed like Duan Ling Tian was not weak at all. After all, Duan Ling Tian was stronger than a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial. After all, Duan Ling Tian had yet to use his celestial supreme treasure. Duan Ling Tian is really good at hiding his strength. As it turns out, he's not any weaker than his wife. I really didn't expect Duan Ling Tian to actually possess such a formidable strength. At this time, apart from a few demonic humans, the rest of the demonic humans were very disappointed. They only had one thought left in their minds. They hoped Duan Ling Tian would let them go. Based on the current situation, the devil clans had been utterly defeated. There was no way they would be able to turn the situation around. In contrast to the disappointment of the devilish beings, all of the humans present wore excited looks on their faces. Heavens! As it turns out, Duan Lingtian is actually so strong. Based on what the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from the devil clan said, Duan Lingtian's strength is comparable to Duan Lingtian's wife. That seems to be the case. At the very least, he's not a match for Duan Lingtian. Moreover, Duan Lingtian didn't even use his celestial supreme treasure. Otherwise, Duan Lingtian would be even stronger. To think that I thought Duan Lingtian was arrogant? It seems like I've underestimated him. You're not the only one who underestimated him. All of us underestimated him as well. When the humans present on the scene recalled how they had thought Duan Lingtian was arrogant, they felt their faces burning. Reality had given them a slap in the face. This caused them to feel somewhat ashamed. If I'm not mistaken, the heavenly demon blood escape you used just now, other than being able to dodge my attack, you can also escape far away and out of my sight. It can even prevent me from finding you. Chapter 2557. Just now you could have escaped on your own and saved your own life. Duan Lingtian looked at the old man curiously. If I wanted to protect myself, I wouldn't have come here today. The old man was no longer in high spirits. He looked like an old man in his twilight years with a wry smile on his face. After all, before I came, I thought that your wife would come with you. I've confirmed your wife's strength is comparable to a golden celestial in a Devata realm. The old man said. So you're doing this for your clansmen? Duan Lingtian asked indifferently. Yes. The old man did not deny it. At your cultivation base, you're only one step away from passing the 10th bodiless celestial tribulation and ascending to the Devata realm to become a golden celestial. Is it worth it for you to do this? Duan Lingtian asked again. It's not worth it. You said they're my clansmen. The old man said. Master Wuji. Master Wuji. After hearing the old man's words, the group of demon tribesmen was moved, and their faces were filled with excitement. The human devils knew Duan Lingtian would not lay a finger on them even if he wanted to annihilate the entire devil clan. When they heard the old man's words, they could not help but feel respect for Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian. At the same time, the old man looked at Duan Lingtian and said solemnly, I hope you'll spare my clansmen after I die. After I die, the 7-8 tribulation bodiless celestials will lead my clansmen to leave the Saint Province realm and return to the exiled realm. At that time, my clansmen will personally repair the space barrier between the Saint Province realm and the exiled realm to return peace to the Saint Province realm. A hint of pleading could be heard in the old man's voice when he spoke. Master Wuji. Master Wuji. The group of devils was moved by the old man's words. When did I say I'm going to kill you? Duan Lingtian asked as he looked at the old man indifferently. Why, you're not going to kill me? The old man trembled slightly as he looked at Duan Lingtian in disbelief. The group of devils looked at Duan Lingtian expectantly, hoping Duan Lingtian was telling the truth. Duan Lingtian did not respond to the old man's question. Instead, he said indifferently, apart from the human devils who want to stay in the Saint Province realm, I'll give you 3 months to bring the rest of them out of the Saint Province realm. Half a month ago, I went to the Phoenix clan and gave each of the 2-8 tribulation bodiless celestials a celestial supreme treasure. Don't think you can play any tricks after I ascend. Even after I've ascended, I'll still be able to deal with you. Duan Lingtian. The old man could not help but feel envious when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. Although he was a 9 tribulation bodiless celestial, he did not possess any celestial supreme treasures. However, the 2-8 tribulation bodiless celestials from the Phoenix clan possessed celestial supreme treasures. The 7-8 tribulation bodiless celestials from the devil clans were envious when they heard Duan Lingtian's words. Naturally, they were envious of the 2-8 tribulation bodiless celestials from the Phoenix clan. They were both 8 tribulation bodiless celestials, but why were they so lucky? Let's go. Since the matter with the devil clans had been resolved, Duan Lingtian did not intend to stay here any longer. He turned to look at Tang Xiao who was standing next to him. Then he casually tore a tear in space and brought her into it. Everyone could only see his back as he left. The 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from the devil clan sighed in relief when he saw Duan Lingtian's back. Before Duan Lingtian left, he was afraid Duan Lingtian would go back on his words and kill him. Master Wuji. Although Duan Lingtian's strength is comparable to a golden celestial from the Devata realms, he's only an ethereal immortal. However, his cultivation base is only at the level of an eminent celestial at most. We can find a bodiless celestial who has cultivated the soul congregation embodiment technique and use a soul attack to kill him. A7 Tribulation Bodiless Celestial from the Devil Clans said through voice transmission. However, when the old man heard the voice transmission from the 7 Tribulation Bodiless Celestial, he scoffed and said, "It's true that he's an eminent celestial, but are you sure his wife is also an eminent celestial? If his wife isn't, the Devil Clans will be annihilated after he dies. Moreover, even if we find a bodiless celestial who has cultivated the soul congregation embodiment technique, it's too risky to ambush him with his current strength. If he notices us, he'll be able to kill the bodiless celestial who has cultivated the soul congregation embodiment technique." The 7 Tribulation Bodiless Celestial no longer dared to say anything else. "All of you stay in Sin City. I'll look for all of you after I'm done with my business here." Before Duan Lingtian left, he said goodbye to 2 familiar faces in the Devil Clans. They were Huang Qi-ling, a disciple of Wandering Saint Palace, and Yuan Haochen, the palace master of Wandering Saint Palace. Both of them were excited when they heard Duan Lingtian's voice transmission. This meant that Duan Lingtian was not weak at all. In the end, that godlike man did not forget about them. Whoosh, whoosh. After Duan Lingtian brought Tang Xiao through the Terran space, they left the upper province and arrived at the lower province of the Dao Martial Saint Land. To him, the Devil Clans had already left. The matter with the Devil Clans was finally resolved. Even if the Celestial Ascension Force suddenly appeared and pulled him to a Devatar realm, he no longer had to worry about the Devil Clans returning. After all, he had a backup plan. The 2 8 Tribulation Bodiless Celestials from the Phoenix Clan were his backup plan. After the 2 8 Tribulation Bodiless Celestials obtained the Celestial Supreme Treasures from him, their strength was on par with the 9 Tribulation Bodiless Celestial from the Devil Clans. If the 2 of them joined forces, they might be able to kill the 9 Tribulation Bodiless Celestial from the Devil Clans. As for the 7 8 Tribulation Bodiless Celestials from the Devil Clans, he only needed 1 8 Tribulation Bodiless Celestial from the Phoenix Clan to deal with them. Cloud Continent. After bringing Tang Xiao back to the lower province of the Dao Martial Saint Land, Duan Lingtian did not stay in the lower province of the Dao Martial Saint Land for long. Instead, he immediately headed south. It did not take long before he arrived at Cloud Continent, his hometown in this life. To Duan Lingtian, Cloud Continent was divided into the foreign lands and the 10 great dynasties. After all, he was from one of the 10 great dynasties on Cloud Continent. His family and friends were there as well. This time he did not intend to disturb them. He just wanted to hide in the dark and watch them quietly without affecting their lives. At least, he would be able to resolve one of the things that had been bothering him before he left the Sanctuary Realm. He planned to return to Yanhuang Realm and wait for the Celestial Ascension Force to arrive in Yanhuang Realm after he was done with his business in the Saint Province Realm. At this moment, Duan Lingtian was most likely unaware that he was in a hurry to leave the Saint Province Realm. He was in a hurry to leave the Saint Province Realm because he was afraid he would miss Kerr and his family members if he continued to stay in the Saint Province Realm. Whenever he thought of them, he would feel a stab of pain in his heart. At the same time, he hated himself for being so useless. I wonder what kind of heaven and earth phenomenon I'll be able to trigger on Cloud Continent with my current strength. Duan Lingtian still remembered that his hometown, Cloud Continent, was an extremely special place, and that was because when one revealed one's strength here, it would draw upon the energy of heaven and earth and condense the phenomenon of heaven and earth. It could be the silhouette of an ancient mammoth, ancient horned dragon, or, boom. Duan Lingtian was excited. With just the thought, the energy in his body surged out along the 99 saint veins like a wild horse. It seemed to have transformed into a vast flame that shrouded his entire body. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. At this moment, Duan Lingtian heard a series of noises above his head. He could not help but look up, curious about what kind of heaven and earth phenomenon he would be able to trigger. However, when Duan Lingtian looked up, he was dumbfounded. The heaven and earth energy above his head had gathered like dark clouds. The dark clouds seemed to cover the sky, but there was no sign of any heaven and earth phenomenon. Do I have to wait a little longer? With this thought in mind, Duan Lingtian stood still and waited for a while. However, there was still no sign of any change in the dark clouds in the sky. What are you doing? Tang Xiao, who was standing next to Duan Lingtian, could not help but ask. She could not help but feel puzzled. She had no idea what Duan Lingtian was doing. After Duan Lingtian explained it to her, she tried to mobilize her own energy to trigger the heaven and earth energy. However, the heaven and earth phenomenon she triggered was no different from Duan Lingtian's. Dark clouds billowed, but there was no sign of any elephants or dragons. I think our strength is too high, so the heaven and earth energy in this area won't be able to trigger the heaven and earth phenomenon you mentioned. Tang Xiaoxiao guessed. That's the only explanation. Duan Lingtian nodded and gave up. Chem? Duan Lingtian was about to give up and return to the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom with Tang Xiaoxiao when he suddenly came to a halt. It was as though he had encountered an unexpected situation. What's wrong? Tang Xiaoxiao stopped moving and looked at Duan Lingtian with a puzzled expression on her face. However, Duan Lingtian did not respond to Tang Xiaoxiao's question. Instead he raised his hand. A jade token that was shining with a mysterious light appeared in his hand. This jade token. Didn't that senior leave you this jade token? Tang Xiaoxiao recognized the jade token. It was given to Duan Lingtian by the powerhouse from the Divine Offering Land who called himself Xiajia. At this moment, whoosh, when Duan Lingtian let go of his hand, the profound light on the jade token suddenly skyrocketed. Then it flew toward the south at a rapid speed. It was as though it was leading the way. Chapter 2558. What's going on? Duan Lingtian was stunned when he saw the jade token flying toward the south and leaving behind a streak of dark green light. However, he was only stunned for a moment before he brought Tang Xiaoxiao along with him. Although the jade slip was not slow, it was nothing compared to Duan Lingtian's speed. In just a blink of an eye, Duan Lingtian and Tang Xiaoxiao had caught up with them. What's going on? Tang Xiaoxiao asked Duan Lingtian with a puzzled expression on her face. Don't ask me. In response to Tang Xiaoxiao's question, Duan Lingtian smiled wryly as he followed the jade token that was flying south. I don't know what's going on as well. Earlier, I discovered that it was lying in my spatial ring. When I took it out, it began to vibrate as though it wanted to break free from my restraints. Then I let go of my hand and that's it. Duan Lingtian looked at the dark green jade slip in front of him when he reached the end of his sentence. At this moment, the dark green jade slip shone brighter and brighter. Even Duan Lingtian could feel its emotions at this moment. That was the emotion of excitement. Although it was just an inanimate object, Duan Lingtian could not help but feel excited. I see. At the same time, Tang Xiaoxiao's eyes fell on the jade slip again. It seems like it's trying to take you somewhere? Yes. Duan Lingtian nodded. However, his heart was filled with confusion. He did not know why the jade slip was acting strangely. Moreover, where was it trying to take him? Swoosh. Duan Lingtian raised his hand and something else appeared in his hand. It was a sword. This sword was different from ordinary swords. Most swords were 3 feet long. This was also the reason why swords were called 3 feet long. However, the sword in Duan Lingtian's hand was only 1 foot long. It looked like an elongated dagger. At first glance, this sword gave people the feeling that it was a jade product, similar to a jade slip. However, when Duan Lingtian held the sword in his hand, he could feel that the material used to forge this sword might be jade, but it was definitely not ordinary jade. This sword. At this moment, Tang Xiaoxiao's eyes landed on the sword in Duan Lingtian's hand. She remembered. This sword was left to Duan Lingtian by Xiajia, a powerhouse from the Divine Offering Land. Xiajia had left 2 things for Duan Lingtian. One was a sword and the other was a jade slip. The jade slip was leading the way while the sword was in Duan Lingtian's hand. Third uncle is a powerhouse from the Divine Offering Land. The thing he left for me must be extraordinary. Duan Lingtian muttered to himself as he looked at the 1-foot short sword in his hand. When Xiajia had given him these 2 things, he had put them away absent-mindedly before he rushed back. After returning, he had been so busy that he had forgotten about these 2 things. Earlier, the jade slip that was shrouded in a mysterious light had started to vibrate in his spatial ring. This had caught his attention. Otherwise, he would have left them hanging for a while longer. This sword, Duan Lingtian could not see anything special about the sword in his hand. It did not look like a celestial supreme treasure, but it did not look like a weapon from the mundane realms either. Bus, 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 bus. However, when Duan Lingtian tried to mobilize a trace of energy and sent it into the foot-long short sword in his hand, the foot-long short sword began to vibrate at an exaggerated frequency. In the next moment, the changes that happened to the short sword caused Duan Lingtian to be dumbstruck. After the short sword trembled violently, its body began to crack inch by inch, giving off a feeling that it was about to shatter. Crack, 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 crack. After a short moment, a series of clear sounds resonated. It was the 1-inch short sword in Duan Lingtian's hand that directly shattered into pieces after cracks that resembled spider webs appeared on the body of the sword. It's destroyed just like that? Duan Lingtian was dumbfounded when he saw this. Was this sword really left for him by a powerhouse from the Divine Offering Land? At this moment, Duan Lingtian felt as though Xia Jie was toying with him. However, just as Duan Lingtian thought Xia Jie was toying with him, a familiar voice rang in his ears. "Boy, the sword I left for you is called the Seven Orifices Exquisite Sword. It's a Devata artifact." Duan Lingtian could tell it was Xia Jie's voice. It was not difficult for Duan Lingtian to figure out why Xia Jie's voice would appear at this moment. Xia Jie must have done something to the broken sword in his hand. Seven Orifices Exquisite Sword? A Devata artifact? The corner of Duan Lingtian's mouth twitched when he heard Xia Jie's words. The sword that he had accidentally destroyed in just a blink of an eye was a Devata artifact? However, just as Duan Lingtian's mouth was twitching, his eyes widened as though he had seen something shocking. He stared unwaveringly at the 1-foot-long short sword that was in tatters. A faint crimson light suddenly rose from the broken short sword. As soon as the crimson light appeared, it gradually transformed into the shape of a sword and a crimson sword chi. After the red sword gleam appeared, a faint orange light appeared in the broken dagger. After this orange light appeared, it quickly condensed into an orange sword gleam. After the orange sword chi, a yellow sword chi appeared. After the yellow sword chi, a green sword chi appeared. After the green sword chi, a green sword chi appeared. After the green sword chi, a blue sword chi appeared. After the blue sword chi, a purple sword chi appeared. A total of 7 sword rays appeared before Duan Lingtian's eyes in the form of a rainbow. While Duan Lingtian was in a daze, Tang Xiaoxiao, who was standing next to him, was also stunned. She did not know what was going on at all. "Watch out!" Tang Xiaoxiao cried out in surprise when she saw the broken pieces of the short sword flying toward Duan Lingtian's hand that was holding the broken pieces of the short sword. Unfortunately, Tang Xiaoxiao's warning was too late. In fact, even if Tang Xiaoxiao had warned Duan Lingtian earlier, Duan Lingtian would not have dodged the sudden attack. This was because Xia Jie's voice rang in his ears once again. "As long as you infuse your energy into the 7 Orifices Exquisite Sword, its illusory body will shatter. At the same time, it will absorb your blood and recognize you as its master." As soon as Xia Jie's words left his mouth, the shard cut Duan Lingtian's palm, leaving behind a cut that was neither deep nor shallow. Blood began to seep out of the cut. In the next moment, Duan Lingtian saw that the 7 colored sword lights that were originally floating in front of him seemed to be attracted by something at this moment, and all of them whizzed out. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. 7 streaks of 7-colored sword light whizzed out, but they swept toward the wound on his palm that was bleeding. Just as Duan Lingtian was about to endure the pain, he realized something. When the 7-colored sword rays came into contact with the wound on his palm, they did not cause any harm to him. They only merged with the blood on the wound and into his palm, causing him to feel numb. What's going on? Even Tang Xiaoxiao could see what was going on during this process. After the blood that seeped out of the wound on Duan Lingtian's palm merged with the 7-colored sword rays, it strangely entered Duan Lingtian's wound. Not only that, but Duan Lingtian's wound also began to heal at a speed visible to the naked eye. A scar appeared on Duan Lingtian's palm. "This scar," Tang Xiaoxiao muttered. Both Tang Xiaoxiao and Duan Lingtian were attracted by the scar on Duan Lingtian's palm. If it was just an ordinary scar, they would not have paid attention to it. However, the problem was, this scar was in the shape of a sword. At the same time, Xia Jie's voice rang in Duan Lingtian's ears again. "After the 7 Orifices Exquisite Sword has acknowledged you as its master, it will appear with a thought. If you don't need it, it will disappear with a thought. Of course, it won't really disappear. It will just merge with your body." Upon hearing Xia Jie's words, Duan Lingtian hurriedly looked into his body. However, no matter how hard he searched, he could not find any trace of the 7 Orifices Exquisite Sword in his body. According to Third Uncle's message, didn't he say the 7 Orifices Exquisite Sword has merged with my body? Duan Lingtian was puzzled. At this moment, Duan Lingtian suddenly felt something extra in his body. Moreover, it was not just a certain part of his body. Instead, it was his entire body, including his blood and bones. There seemed to be something extra in his body. Could it be that the 7 Orifices Exquisite Sword has fused into my body, appearing at random places and fusing into my body? Duan Lingtian seemed to have an epiphany, but he was not certain. The 7 Orifices Exquisite Sword. In the end, Duan Lingtian relaxed his body. With just a thought, he looked at the sword-shaped scar on his right palm. He discovered something else. Almost as soon as this thought appeared in his mind, a constantly changing sword light appeared in his right hand. The changing colors were the 7 colors of the rainbow. The sword light only changed for a moment before it quickly solidified and turned into a completely transparent sword. It was as though it was made of glass from Duan Lingtian's previous life. At this moment, Xia Jie's voice rang again. This 7 orifices exquisite sword is a relic left behind by an old friend of mine. Although it's a Devata artifact, it has lost its sword soul. Chapter 2559. A top celestial weapon? Duan Lingtian's eyes widened when he heard Xia Jie's words. A top-notch immortal artifact referred to a top-notch immortal supreme treasure. He knew this. Previously, he had accidentally obtained the celestial supreme treasure, the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda. According to the pagoda spirit of the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda, Elder Hua, it was a supreme celestial supreme treasure. However, it was damaged so it could not unleash its full power. A top celestial supreme treasure was extremely rare even in the Devata realms. Hualao had mentioned this before. Not only that, but Duan Lingtian had also heard Elder Hua mention the Devata artifact once. He knew the Devata divine weapons were rarer than top celestial supreme treasures. They were usually in the hands of heavenly emperors in the Devata realms. Moreover, Devata divine weapons had souls. As for the details of the Devata artifact, Duan Lingtian did not know much about it. Since Elder Hua did not elaborate, he did not ask. After all, he was too far away from a Devata artifact in the past. He did not expect he would be able to obtain a Devata artifact in the near future. According to Third Uncle's words, this Devata artifact, the 7 orifices exquisite sword, has lost its soul. That's why it's only comparable to a top celestial weapon. After all, Xia Jie had met Hualao in the past and learned about top celestial weapons and Devata artifacts from Hualao. For this reason, although Duan Lingtian was surprised that Xia Jie had left a Devata artifact for him, he remained calm and did not lose his composure. After all, he was someone who had obtained a top celestial weapon in the past. Although the top celestial weapon was damaged, it was still a top celestial weapon. Moreover, there was a spirit in it who treated him like a teacher and a friend. However, compared to the celestial sword in my possession, this sword is on a completely different level. In fact, it's even more powerful than the Jasper celestial sword in the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda. When Duan Lingtian held the 7 orifices exquisite sword in his hand, he was certain of this after experimenting a few times. For a moment, even though he had come into contact with a top-notch immortal artifact like the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda in the past, he still could not help but feel excited. After all, the 7 treasures jewel pagoda was only a damaged top-grade immortal artifact, while the 7 orifices jewel sword was a perfect top-grade immortal artifact. To be more precise, it was originally a Devata artifact that was even more powerful than a top-tier celestial weapon. However, due to the loss of its soul, it was only comparable to a top-tier celestial weapon. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Duan Lingtian did not use any technique at all. He merely infused his eminent celestial energy into the 7 orifices exquisite sword. Sword rays shot out from the tip of the sword and tore through space, leaving terrifying rifts in the void. After all, if it was an ordinary celestial sword, Duan Lingtian would not be able to tear through space. This sword seems extraordinary. Tang Xiaoxiao exclaimed in surprise when she saw the sword in Duan Lingtian's hand after Duan Lingtian put it away. Of course it's extraordinary. Duan Lingtian was in a good mood after obtaining a divine weapon. When he heard Tang Xiaoxiao's words, he smiled faintly and said, "This sword of mine is considered one of the top celestial supreme treasures in the Devata realms. Do you think it's ordinary?" Duan Lingtian asked as he looked at Tang Xiaoxiao. However, Tang Xiaoxiao was still in a daze when she heard Duan Lingtian's question. This was because she was shocked by Duan Lingtian's words. Was it considered one of the top celestial supreme treasures in the Devata realms? Was it not a top celestial supreme treasure? Tang Xiaoxiao was a member of the Tang sect, and the Tang sect had a long history in Yanhuang realm. Therefore she knew a lot about top celestial supreme treasures. In the legends of Yanhuang realm, there were many top immortal supreme treasures, but they were all legendary existences. Tang Xiaoxiao had never seen or heard of any forces in Yanhuang realm possessing an immortal supreme treasure of such level. However, Duan Lingtian had just told her that it was a top celestial supreme treasure. The seemingly transparent 3 feet long blade in his hand was actually a legendary supreme treasure of immortals? Are you telling the truth? After a long while, Tang Xiaoxiao finally regained her senses and asked in shock. Why would I lie to you? Duan Lingtian shook his head with a smile. With just a thought, The seven orifices exquisite sword in his hand melted into a puddle of water and disappeared into the sword-shaped scar on his palm. It was as though it had never been there. At the same time, Duan Lingtian could clearly sense the seven orifices exquisite sword's presence. It was as though it had merged with his body. I forgot. Senior Xiajie left this sword for you. After calming down, Tang Xiaoxiao recalled the origin of the sword in Duan Lingtian's hand. Xiajie, a powerhouse from the Divine Offering Land, had left it for Duan Lingtian before he left. In front of Senior Xiajie, even those who came from the Divine Offering Land like Senior Xiajie, who looked down on the heavenly emperors of the Devata realms, didn't even dare to breathe loudly. With Senior Xiajie's means, it's not surprising that he left you a top celestial supreme treasure. A hint of envy could be seen in Tang Xiaoxiao's eyes when she looked at Duan Lingtian. After all, it was a top celestial supreme treasure. Who would not want it? The Divine Offering Land? Duan Lingtian fell silent when he heard Tang Xiaoxiao's words. The words world of divine offering were like a thorn in his heart that was difficult to remove. I'm sorry. When Tang Xiaoxiao saw Duan Lingtian had fallen silent and his expression darkened, it was not difficult for her to guess that Duan Lingtian must have recalled something unpleasant. Therefore she could not help but apologize. She had heard about Duan Lingtian's past from Duan Lingtian. For this reason, she knew Duan Lingtian had buried the pain in the depths of his heart. When she mentioned the Divine Offering Land, she was undoubtedly rubbing salt into Duan Lingtian's wound. It's fine. At this moment, Duan Lingtian finally regained his senses. His expression softened slightly as he shook his head. There are some things that I can't help but think about even if no one says it. If I blame you, it would be akin to burying my head in the sand. Although Tang Xiaoxiao's emotions had fluctuated greatly earlier, she did not say anything. After all, it was his own fault. Duan Lingtian did not blame Tang Xiaoxiao. I believe you'll be strong enough to gain the approval of your wife's father and reunite with her after 1,000 years. Tang Xiaoxiao said solemnly. Thank you. Duan Lingtian expressed his gratitude with a smile on his face. Oh? As soon as Duan Lingtian finished speaking, Tang Xiaoxiao's expression changed drastically as though she had sensed something. What's wrong? Duan Lingtian's expression changed when he saw the change in Tang Xiaoxiao's expression. I'm afraid I'll have to leave the mundane realm before you do. Tang Xiaoxiao smiled wryly. Duan Lingtian was stunned when he heard Tang Xiaoxiao's words. Then, his eyes brightened as though he had just recalled something. Your celestial ascension force. Is it coming? I sensed it. Tang Xiaoxiao nodded and sighed. I didn't expect the celestial ascension force to come in less than 10 years after I passed the heavenly tribulation. I'm afraid I'll have to leave this time. This is a good thing. Why do you sound like you're going to be tortured? Duan Lingtian shook his head with a smile on his face. Duan Lingtian, no matter when we meet again, I'll never forget that my life belongs to you. Tang Xiaoxiao said solemnly as she looked at Duan Lingtian solemnly. You don't have to say that again. However, when Duan Lingtian heard Tang Xiaoxiao's words, he immediately denied it. Your life is yours, not mine. As for killing the 9 tribulation bodiless celestial from the heavenly wave mansion, I was merely helping my friend. I didn't intend to gain anything from it. I, Duan Lingtian, always do as I please. So you don't owe me anything. Duan Lingtian had a serious expression on his face when he finished speaking. Boom. Just as Tang Xiaoxiao was about to open her mouth to say something, a deafening sound that sounded like a bolt from the blue tore through the sky and swept across the land. This is the celestial ascension force? As soon as the thunderous sound rang in the air, Duan Lingtian vaguely sensed something. A seemingly invincible force went through him and enveloped Tang Xiaoxiao, making her fly. Whoosh. In the next moment, Duan Lingtian saw a flash before his eyes. As soon as Tang Xiaoxiao was shrouded by the ray of light, it seemed to have disappeared into thin air. Tang Xiaoxiao disappeared along with it. She ascended just like that? From the moment the celestial ascension force appeared and brought Tang Xiaoxiao away, all of this happened in the blink of an eye. It was so quick that Duan Lingtian was unable to react in time. It was not that he was slow, but the celestial ascension force had appeared too quickly. I hope you'll be fine in the Devata realm, Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Although Duan Lingtian only treated Tang Xiaoxiao as an ordinary friend, they had been together for quite some time. He could not help but feel a little sad that Tang Xiaoxiao was leaving so suddenly. All good things must come to an end. I hope we'll meet again in the Devata realm. With this thought in mind, Duan Lingtian suppressed the reluctance in his heart and continued to follow the jade token Xiajie left behind. The Crimson Sky Kingdom? Soon after, Duan Lingtian discovered something. Chapter 2560. In general, Duan Lingtian's hometown in this life was the Saint Province realm. In general, it was the Debussyi subterranean, the Cloud Continent, the 10 Great Dynasties, and the Crimson Sky Kingdom. He had many memories in the Crimson Sky Kingdom. Most of his friends and family on the Cloud Continent were in the Crimson Sky Kingdom. This time he came back mainly because he wanted to see his old friends and family. He wanted to take a look at them from afar without disturbing them. However, he did not expect the dark green jade token that Xiajie had left for him would bring him back to the Crimson Sky Kingdom before he could return. Its speed actually slowed down? What surprised Duan Lingtian the most was that after the jade token brought him into the territory of the Crimson Sky Kingdom, its speed actually slowed down, and it became slower and slower. Could it be that the place it's bringing me to is in the Crimson Sky Kingdom? Duan Lingtian was confused. He remembered that after he triggered the message Xiajie had left on the 7 Orifices Exquisite Sword, Xiajie had told him about the 7 Orifices Exquisite Sword and the dark green jade token. According to Xiajie, he had obtained the jade token by chance. This jade slip was something he'd obtained by chance. Moreover, when he just obtained this jade slip, there was a message left on the jade slip to remind him. It said, "Don't worry. Only those who possess 99 heavenly veins can decipher the secret in the jade token." Xiajie had been trying to decipher the secret in the jade token for many years, but to no avail. However, there was one thing Xiajie was certain of. The jade token was not simple. He was not the only one who could not destroy the jade token. Even his elder brother, the clan leader of the Xia clan in the Divine Offering Land, could not leave a mark on the jade token. I've only met people with 98 heavenly veins in my life, and I've met more than 1 or 2 people with 99 heavenly veins. However, I've never met anyone with 99 heavenly veins. I've never even heard of anyone with 99 heavenly veins. This was Xiajie's message. When I first obtained the jade token, I didn't know who left a message on the jade token. It reminded me that only those who possess 99 heavenly veins can decipher the secret in the jade token. However, I didn't think much of it since I didn't think such a person existed. It was only when I met you that I learned there's someone with 99 heavenly veins in this world. I've never heard of anyone with 99 heavenly veins in the Devata realms, the Divine Offering Land, or realms similar to the Divine Offering Land. Take your time to uncover the secret in the jade token. Both my elder brother and I think this jade token is extraordinary. Xiajie's message ended there. Although Xiajie's message was Xia's end world, the jade token did not leave a message. The dark green jade slip leading the way was not an ordinary jade slip. There should be some kind of secret hidden in it, and it was not a small secret. Only someone with 99 heavenly veins can decipher the secrets? Why does it sound so far-fetched? Duan Lingtian shook his head and gradually stopped thinking about it. His attention was completely focused on the jade token that was leading the way for him. Where does it want to take me? Duan Lingtian followed the jade token all the way forward. The jade token's speed became slower and slower, and he slowed down as well, always following behind the jade token. Fresh Breeze Town is just up ahead. He followed the jade token into Swallow Mountain County, passed by Aurora City, and finally arrived at Fresh Breeze Town. Fresh Breeze Town was the starting point for him in this life. It stopped? The jade token suddenly stopped when it was a few dozen miles away from Fresh Breeze Town. Duan Lingtian did the same when he saw the jade token had stopped. All of a sudden, swoosh. The jade slip suddenly trembled and fell from the sky as if it had turned into a bolt of lightning. Swoosh. Duan Lingtian followed like a shadow, and he followed the jade token to descend into a desolate mountain range. Although this mountain range was near Fresh Breeze Town, Duan Lingtian had never been here before. He had never even heard of anyone coming here before. Duan Lingtian naturally knew the reason why no one had come here. When he followed the jade slip and landed on the ground, he saw something else. The terrain around this barren mountain range was steep. With the strength of Fresh Breeze Town's cultivators, it was harder than ascending to the heavens to climb over the steep terrain. As for powerful cultivators, they wouldn't stay in the small Fresh Breeze Town. Just like Duan Lingtian in the past. After he had a certain amount of strength, he left Fresh Breeze Town and went to Aurora City. Water flows downwards and people walk upwards. This was an immutable truth. That is, soon after, Duan Lingtian followed the jade token and arrived at one of the valleys in the desolate mountain range. At first glance, the valley was completely barren. However, the jade token was hovering above a black rock. Although the black rock's color was darker than the other rocks in the valley, Duan Lingtian would not have thought there was anything special about it if it was not for the fact that the jade token was hovering above it. It brought me all the way here just to find this stupid rock? Duan Lingtian was speechless. However, even though he was speechless, Duan Lingtian still walked up to the black rock and casually picked it up. He wanted to see what was so special about it that made the jade token given to him by Xiajie bring him all the way here. However, just as Duan Lingtian picked up the black rock, a voice rang in his ears. When this voice entered his ears, it caused him to be dumbstruck again. After a long while, he had a strange expression on his face. The secret of this rock can only be deciphered by someone with 99 heavenly veins. That was the rough meaning of the voice. Third uncle said that when he obtained the jade token, a voice reminded him that only someone with 99 heavenly veins would be able to decipher the secret of this jade token. Duan Lingtian looked at the jade token hovering in the air before he looked at the black rock in his hand. Now that I've picked up this rock, a voice reminded me that only someone with 99 heavenly veins would be able to decipher the secret of this rock. Duan Lingtian looked at the black rock with his left eye and right eye, but he could not see anything special about the black rock in his hand. At the very least, there was a layer of mysterious light surrounding the jade token that hovered in the air. With just a glance, one could tell it was not an ordinary object. What was in the black rock in front of him? Just as Duan Lingtian was looking at the black rock in his hand with a look of disdain, he was shocked to find that there was something strange about it. At the same time, a layer of profound light similar to the profound light on the jade slip broke out of the black stone's body. In the blink of an eye, the black rock was also surrounded by a layer of mysterious light. At this moment, Duan Lingtian felt a burning sensation on his face. It was as though someone had given him a tight slap. Isn't this slap a little too fast? Duan Lingtian smiled bitterly. Didn't they say that only someone with 99 heavenly veins would be able to decipher their secret? I'm a person with 99 heavenly veins. Why can't I decipher their secret? As Duan Lingtian spoke in bewilderment, he reached out with his other hand and grabbed the floating jade token. However, at the instant Duan Lingtian grabbed the jade token in his hand, an unexpected event occurred. What's going on? Duan Lingtian's expression changed drastically. This was the first thought that popped into his mind. The moment he stretched out his other hand to grab the jade slip, a wave of power gushed out from both the jade slip and the black stone, surging into his left and right hands respectively. It made him feel as though he was being electrocuted. At the same time, he could clearly sense that the energy in the jade token was flowing out. The energy from the black rock in his left hand and the dark green jade token in his right hand were flowing directly into his saint veins. It was as though they wanted to flow through all the saint veins in his body. What happened next confirmed Duan Lingtian's conjecture. The two energies quickly flowed through all 99 saint veins in his body. After that, the two completely different energies strangely merged together. They actually merged together? Throughout the entire process, even if Duan Lingtian could control the energy in his body, he could not stop the energies from the black rock and the dark green jade token. Wherever they passed, the energy in Duan Lingtian's body could not interfere at all. Even Duan Lingtian was deeply aware of the gap between the energy in his body and the two mysterious energies at this moment. Just as Duan Lingtian discovered that the two mysterious energies had merged together, he could not help but feel uneasy. He was afraid that something strange would happen. Then he realized, the merged energy split into two and flowed into his left and right hands, respectively flowing into the jade token and the rock. It's finally gone. Seeing this, Duan Lingtian heaved a sigh of relief. He was really worried that this fused power would run amok in his body. Who knew what it would do to him? Just as Duan Lingtian heaved a sigh of relief, he was stunned to see, whether it was the black rock in his left hand or the dark green jade token in his right hand, they were both glowing brightly and extending a pushing force that pushed his clenched hands apart and spread them out. Then they left his hands and rose into the air. What are they doing? The next moment, Duan Lingtian saw, the black rock and the dark green jade token that had left his hands glowed brightly again, as though they had turned into two blazing suns. Chapter 2561. The black stone and the dark green jade slip suddenly collided. This scene caught Duan Lingtian by surprise. However, when the black stone and the dark green jade slip collided with each other, the scene of Mars colliding with Earth that Duan Lingtian expected did not appear. Not only did they not make any sound when they collided, it was even silent. This is, under Duan Lingtian's gaze after the black stone and the dark green jade slip collided, they seemed to soften and intertwined with each other. In the end, they completely fused together in a very strange way, fusing into one. Seeing this scene, Duan Lingtian was a little stunned. And just at the moment when Duan Lingtian was stunned, whoosh, the fused black stone and dark green jade slip suddenly burst out with a strong light that was even stronger than the scorching sun at noon. It was so dazzling that Duan Lingtian subconsciously closed his eyes. Before he could open his eyes, Duan Lingtian felt a majestic and heavy aura hit him in the face, directly and fiercely sending him flying. This aura was also mixed with waves of vicissitudes and an ancient aura. Once it hit Duan Lingtian's body, it seemed to imprison Duan Lingtian's strength. Now, Duan Lingtian wanted to mobilize the strength in his body to resist this aura, but he could not. Wah! At the same time that he was sent flying, Duan Lingtian only felt a monstrous force hit his chest like a heavy hammer, causing his internal organs to tremble, and he could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. After flying for a distance, Duan Lingtian found that he could barely mobilize the strength in his body and stabilize his body. Who? The moment he stabilized his body and came back to his senses, Duan Lingtian subconsciously shouted angrily, thinking that someone was sneaking up on him. However, when he looked carefully, he found that, in front of his eyes, there was nothing but a metallic object that had appeared out of nowhere not far in front of him. What about the stone and the jade slip? Duan Lingtian wanted to find the stone and the jade slip, but he found that they were nowhere to be found. After the two merged with each other, it was as if they suddenly disappeared. That was until he vaguely sensed that a familiar yet unfamiliar aura was gradually fading away from the metallic object in front of him that had appeared at some point in time. Only then did he realize what was going on. This metal piece is the product of the fusion of the black stone and the dark green jade slip that sent me flying? Because the aura on the metal piece was exactly the same as the aura that blasted him away just now, it was not difficult for him to guess this point. After a while, Duan Lingtian found that the aura on the surface of the metal piece was completely converged. What the hell is going on? The jade slip that third uncle gave me, why did it fuse with that stone? Furthermore, they fused together into something that looks like a piece of metal. When the metal piece's aura was completely converged and it was surrounded by an even deeper mysterious light, Duan Lingtian flew out and tentatively approached it. After finding that it had no intention of attacking him, he carefully reached out and held it in his hand. At this time, Duan Lingtian began to seriously look at the metal piece that was wrapped in mysterious light in his hand. This seems to be a broken piece of metal. Only one side of the metal piece in Duan Lingtian's hand was flat, and the other three sides were bumpy. It wasn't hard to see that this iron-like thing seemed to have been forcefully broken off from something. It's quite thick. Weighing the broken metal piece in his hand, Duan Lingtian could not help but murmur, "Also, I don't know where the words on it are from, but they're so obscure. Also, it's not just the words, even the pictures on it are difficult to tell what kind of pictures they are." Holding the broken metal piece in his hand, Duan Lingtian could clearly sense the ancient aura that was inadvertently emitted from it. This aura seemed to be telling him that it had existed for a very long time. What the hell is this? Looking at the broken metal piece in his hand, Duan Lingtian frowned. He looked left and right, but he could not tell what this metal piece was. However, there's one thing I'm sure of, this thing is not simple. What a joke. If this thing was simple, it would not have been able to send him flying and injure him with just its aura. Most importantly, this was not the case. This incomplete piece of metal was the product of the fusion of the mysterious jade token Xiajie from the divine offering land had given him and something else. Although Duan Lingtian did not know much about the other item, he could tell it was not an ordinary item. Nonsense. If it was an ordinary item, why would the mysterious jade slip given to him by Xiajie bring him all the way here? Let's see, what the hell is this? With that thought in mind, Duan Lingtian extended his divine consciousness with the intention of merging it with the broken metal piece in his hand to investigate it. However, almost as soon as Duan Lingtian's divine consciousness touched the broken metal piece, he was shocked to discover something. At this moment, the words and pictures on the broken metal piece seemed to have come to life. Moreover, they were emitting a strange and unfathomable energy. It was like a bottomless abyss. No matter how he tried to merge his divine consciousness with it, it was completely devoured. From the beginning until the end, although Duan Lingtian had continuously extended his divine consciousness and merged it with the broken metal piece, he did not discover anything useful. In fact, it could be said that he did not discover anything at all. This was because as soon as his divine consciousness got close to the broken metal piece, it would be devoured by the strange energy emitted by the words and pictures on the broken metal piece. What the hell is this thing? In the end, Duan Lingtian had no choice but to stop merging his divine consciousness with the broken metal piece. He hastily withdrew his divine consciousness and looked at the broken metal piece in his hand fearfully. It was as though he was looking at a scourge. Now that he was holding the broken metal piece in his hand, Duan Lingtian felt as though he was holding a hot potato. The divine consciousness originates from the soul. Since it can devour divine consciousness so easily, I wonder if it can devour soul attacks as easily. With this thought in mind, Duan Lingtian's soul trembled. He immediately launched a soul attack at the broken metal piece. The scene from before replayed itself. The moment Duan Lingtian's soul attack came into contact with the broken metal piece, it was devoured by the strange energy emitted by the words and pictures on the broken metal piece. It was completely useless. As expected, it can devour soul attacks. Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up immediately. His gaze when he looked at the broken metal piece had changed completely. There was no longer fear in his eyes, there was a hint of joy in his eyes. With this broken metal piece, I won't have to fear the soul attack of a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial in this mundane realm. Duan Lingtian could not help but feel excited when he thought about this. Although his soul was only at the level of an eminent celestial, the broken metal piece could easily devour the broken metal piece. However, since the defective metal piece could easily devour his soul attack, it would not feel any pressure even if it devoured the soul attack of a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial who had mastered the soul congregation embodiment technique. After all, one of the things that formed the broken metal piece was given to him by Xia Jie, a powerhouse from the divine offering land. Even Xia Jie felt that this thing was not simple. Therefore, it would not be difficult for the incomplete piece of iron, which was formed by the fusion of two other things, to devour the soul attack of a 9th tribulation loose immortal who had mastered the soul-gathering embodiment technique. For this reason, Duan Lingtian looked at the broken metal piece in his hand as though it was a treasure. This broken metal piece definitely has more than just the ability to devour divine consciousness and soul attacks. It must have many other secrets. However, with my current strength, I don't know what other secrets it has. Duan Lingtian could tell the broken metal piece in his hand was not as simple as it seemed. Apart from that, the appearance of this broken metal piece must have something to do with the 99 saint veins in my body as well. Duan Lingtian muttered to himself as he closed his eyes and recalled what had happened when he held the black stone and the dark green jade token in his hand. At that time, the black stone and the dark green jade token had each released a surge of energy that entered his body. After that, the two surges of energy traveled through the 99 saint veins in his body before they merged together. I remember when the two surges of energy traveled through the 98 saint veins in my body, they did not show any signs of merging until they had traveled through the 99 saint veins. It is precisely because they fused together that the black stone and the dark green jade slip fused together to form this incomplete piece of metal. When he thought up to this point, Duan Lingtian opened his eyes and looked at the defective metal piece in his hand. In other words, this was the broken metal piece. The broken metal piece was formed when the black stone and the dark green jade token merged together through the 99 saint veins in his body. Saint veins were known as heavenly veins in the Devata realms. Now that I've deciphered the secrets of the dark green jade token and the black stone, right? Duan Lingtian thought to himself. However, even though we've deciphered the secrets of the jade strip and the stone, we still have to deal with the secrets of the incomplete metal piece. I don't know where this incomplete piece of metal came from. But one thing is for sure, the thing that left this incomplete piece of metal is definitely not ordinary. Duan Lingtian was certain of this. In any case, I've gained quite a lot this time. With this broken metal piece, even if a 9-tribulation bodiless celestial who has cultivated the soul congregation embodiment technique, I won't have to wait helplessly for my death. Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up when he thought about this. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.